Good evening, all. We were just putting the world to rights and overran by a couple of minutes, but hey ho, that's the way it goes sometimes. It is time.
But we fixed the world, John. We fixed the world.
We mended it. We did. We mended it.
Peace in our time.
Absolutely. So I am joined at the moment by Bear, the Gen X GM, and Intellectual Quandary.
Oh, I'm dark.
Shed Dweller.
Yes.
It's Shed Dweller.
But I don't know if anybody else is joining us tonight. People are welcome to join. The link is in the usual place. But it's quite a specific topic tonight. So what I'm going to ask is if you are going to come in tonight, at least have a little experience or at least an opinion. It doesn't have to be positive. It can be a negative opinion about the topic that we're going to talk about, which is playing games online. And with a little bit of a focus on playing games live, being watched, observed, dissected on the YouTubes, being dissected sometimes. Yeah. Say hello to everybody in chat. We've got Daniel here. We've got Halakar. We've got Andy. We've got Richard, Mr. Baker, and there's GM Cody. Good evening to all of you, and you are much welcome to be here. My back terrible English. Hello, Sergeant Dan stuff as well. I, of course, did not stream last Wednesday, not a panel stream. I thank everybody who joined me on my live stream on the Thursday night. I hope you had some fun. I don't remember anything of it. I went back and watched the first 10 minutes and thought, oh no, how many times am I going to repeat myself? Oh no. Hello, Zachary Rogers. But no, it was nice to chill out last Thursday, and that hangover then went on and lasted 2 full days afterwards. I don't handle beer all that well nowadays.
No, you were respectfully drunk, that's for sure.
I'm a happy drunk though, aren't I?
No, you were respectfully drunk. You did a good job.
Yeah. I can blurt sometimes a little bit when I'm drunk.
I don't know. It was good. It was good. The first thing you said to me was, Iman, you're more than welcome. I'm like, oh, this guy's so sweet.
Look, when I'm drunk, you just get me with no filter, and I get giggly as well, and I get silly sometimes. So
that's all right. I know you actually, tolerate my existence at the very least. Then,
yeah, of course.
If you didn't, I would have found out on that day.
Fuck off. Hello, Brian. Hello, Brian. So, how's gaming been? Hello, King Eric, greatest of all. King Eric, the greatest. Full stop of all.
So that's those are people on my channel from the simulcast. If you guys don't want to hang out on my channel, want to be part of the general chat, in the show notes is the link to the live stream for Ye Olde Geek, and you can pop over here and be included in the chat with that, or stay where you are because we can see it, but not everybody can see your chats. Just remember that.
Absolutely, Bear.
And also,
Absolutely.
King Eric, greatest of all, citation needed. I always have to say that.
Hello, Coco. Hello. On your way to the gym soon, so let's keep this motivational. Shall I get down and do some push-ups or something? Not that my back could cope with it. I've just had to take off one of these, which I've had to wear all day, the back support thing, which is marvelous because I'm now sat on a chair with a decent support, so it's okay. It's keeping me upright. But that's all part of getting old. So how's gaming been these last few weeks since we last chatted?
Well, I don't know. I mean, we did really good on the Palladium Fantasy game. I thought that was quite epic and excellent. And then I've run 2 or 3 heroics since then that have been really good and a lot of fun. So everything's looking great on my end.
And these are all live games, aren't they? So we could discuss.
Yes, sir. We're talking about live games, so I'm only talking about live games tonight.
Absolutely. Iman, you've muted yourself. Are you heading Shedwards? Is that what it is?
Shedward bound.
It was windy last night, wasn't it, Andy? Yes, in our game.
Ah, can you hear me now? There we go. How didst thou know?
It's just predictable at this sort of time. You sort of disappear out towards your shed. You're never prepared in your shed beforehand. You just sort of mute yourself.
Oh, no.
You can't be prepared like that, can you? No.
I hope you can't hear the rain.
It's not raining here, but I can't hear anything
today. Absolutely,
it's been bad. It's been bad earlier. Hello, Crafting Gamer. So how's your gaming been? I mean, I know I've been there in all the games that you've had. So you.
Well, I very much enjoyed the Palladium session that Bear ran, especially after a lengthy break. So that was good to get back into the swing of things a little bit there. Looking forward to next session and hoping that I can sort of contribute a little bit more.
I hope so too.
All right, I get it.
I mean, we've had the Devere center stage thing pretty much.
Dear God, I think we've had enough of the Devere center stage.
So he can easily drift back a little bit and give you a little bit of the limelight if you want him on. It's completely up to you. I mean, go for it. And of course, Call of Cthulhu. How are you getting on Call of Cthulhu? Tell the world.
Actually, pretty well for a change. We didn't get a chance to speak about it last week because, what was going on and stuff. But yeah, it was the session before last. The dice were on my side for once. So we actually ended up succeeding in what I wanted to do and the party wanted to do. And yeah, we got out of Dodge pretty much scot-free.
Yes, they've now gone from Venice. They've arrived in Trieste and discovered a certain Trieste phenomenon called the Bora. A wind whips down the Adriatic, and it's a bit cold, isn't it? It's a bit chilly.
A bit. It's like, minus whatever degrees Celsius.
Yes. I mean, Bear's Canadian. He's like, I see your -7 Celsius and give you minus.
Kidding? It's 36 here right now in high humidity.
I mean, in the winter, I know.
Oh no, in winter, like us and the Russians, you know what I mean? Like that's it. Everybody else can shut the fuck up about how cold it is.
Yeah.
Oh, and Minnesotans, people from Minnesota, that part of the U.S., the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, they can complain too because they get similar winter to us. But when I have friends in Colombia, and I'll be talking to them, and it'll be like the middle of winter there, and they'll be like, "It's so cold today," and I'm like, "How cold is it?" 16 degrees, and I'm like, "What?" If it was 16 degrees here in winter, we'd all be wearing t-shirts and shorts outside. Like, what are you talking about? 16 degrees. Sorry, I forget. Does the UK use Celsius, or are you still on the American system?
We use Celsius.
Okay, so you're civilized. Good to know.
But we are aware of Fahrenheit.
We are too.
Yeah. So
I think we share that between our countries. That stuck in the middle thing. We do height in feet and inches.
Yep.
But we do distance in kilometers.
No, we do distance in miles.
But you also do weight in stone. So what the fuck is that about?
Stone is imperial.
Yeah, we use kilograms and stones and pounds.
Yeah, that's bizarre as far as I'm
concerned. There were 14 pounds to a stone. It's quite simple.
Well, I don't want to tell you how many stone I am then.
I mean, if someone says they're 140 pounds, they're 10 stone.
Good to know.
There you go. Yes.
Still not going to tell you how many stone I am.
Yeah, I mean, we do some things in meters, but I think most of our distances are imperial.
Actually, I shouldn't. I'm lying. Canadians don't do distance in kilometers. What we do it in is time. It's 5 hours to Toronto.
Yeah, Coco says there. We also do distance in time.
Yeah, Coco's Canadian. He's correcting me. There you go, Coco. See, it's true. We do everything. We do distance in time, not in actual kilometers. So like on Saint Jean Baptiste Day, which is the long weekend in June that's coming up, me and my buddies are going to another city because there's a restaurant we want to go that we like to go to every now and then. And it's not, I couldn't tell you how far this city is from Montreal, but I can tell you it takes us 2 hours to get there. So how far is it from Montreal? About 2 hours.
About 100 miles, probably.
Maybe.
Fair enough.
So,
are your road signs in kilometers per hour or miles per hour?
Here, kilometers. Canada is metric. Canada is 100% metric. And the younger generation are... they're very good at kilograms and centimeters and meters and all that because that's all they ever learned. But my generation was we were in grade 7 or something when they brought metric into Canada. So we had learned everything up until then in imperial, and then suddenly, now learn all metric. And when I was a kid, I knew all the conversion math. So my father would kill me on that when we were driving down the highway and we'd see a sign in kilometers. He'd be like, okay, convert it into miles. And then I'd have to convert it into miles in my head using the formula. And I was really good at it.
Divide by 8, multiply by 5.
Whatever. My testicles dropped. And once that happened, I forgot math immediately. Other than 2. I have 2 of those. 2. I know what 2 is.
Anyway, the games I've played, I played in Bear's streamed Palladium game, which was a lot of fun, and let's just say my character is developing a little. I think that's fair enough. I've run some Call of Cthulhu for Iman and Andy and Manfred and Joker, and yes, they're making some progress. They're now in Trieste. They were not quite, maybe around the halfway point. It depends how many extra bits and bobs I throw into the campaign as to whether it's halfway or not. Maybe not quite. And ran some MERP on Saturday, that was a bit of a big fight session. We don't have many big fight sessions in MERP, but when it happens, it tends to be quite big and bloody. And yeah, you had a very bloody fight in MERP last Saturday. And yeah, you got a bit lucky because when they critted against you, their crits against you were quite minor. And there was one severe insta-kill crit against one of them, which really did help. It took out a beefy individual who had twice as many hit points as anyone in the party. So that's the way it works. That's the way it works sometimes. That is the way it works.
Who the hell did man go?
I don't know. He's had his usual internet wobble.
Shed life.
He needs to get a wired internet into his shed, doesn't he?
Yeah, or get a dongle, that I don't have those over there. These dongles.
I believe he's male, so he has got a dongle. Dad humor. Hello, Hunger. Hello, Hunger. Member for 17 months, and he already wants to boot them in the nards.
Of course he does.
Both plants got nards.
Yeah. Thank you, Hunger. Hope you're well. Hope you're out of. Hope you're not back in hospital yet. Never quite know where you are, but hope you're well, buddy. Everything's going fine. Right, we do have a topic tonight, and that is playing games online. Obviously, it's become a big thing in the last decade because it's the easiest way to find groups, though it does have minefields because a lot of the horror stories you hear tend to be random people meeting up through the internet and finding out why the weirdo who joins their group hadn't got anyone else to play with, that sort of thing. But it's an asset as well. We've obviously all met through online gaming, a shared love of gaming through Tinternet. Isn't that right, chaps? That's how we got to know each other. It is as simple as that. The internet is a wonderful thing for this purpose. And I've gone from never having run a game online in my life in about 2019, 2020-ish, to now running and playing in sometimes 4 games a week, usually 2 or 3. So I wanted to talk about some of that, but also something I've done for the first time recently is played in a live stream game. Bear's live stream game. I'd never played in a live streamed game before that. I've still never run a live stream game. I would like to, but it's just a matter of finding the right people, the right time, the right game, and getting it all together. And finding time to do it, of course. But it is something I would like to do. But I know it's not everybody's cup of tea, because I hear a lot of people say, I don't particularly want to watch people playing games online. It's not a spectator sport. It can be entertainment though, and at times when you've seriously got nothing else to do, what's wrong with putting on YouTube, Twitch, whatever service you use, and just chatting with people while people are playing the game and getting involved via the chat with the storyline of the game. Yes, I don't know whether we're going to be mentioning that, Brian, but I'm fully aware of that. It's up to Bear whether he wants to talk about that.
There's nothing to talk about. I mean, it's a nothing burger at the end of the day. The person has apparently a reputation for doing something like this and clearly was dealing with stress at the time and chose to have a negative reaction. What bothered me more was the person that then came, or the person that then cut it so it looked like I caused it to happen, and then their people coming and giving me shit saying I needed to apologize to the guy who rage quit because I kicked him out of the game. And I'm like, well, go rewatch the actual footage. And I did nothing. He raged on his own. I stood for myself politely and calmly. He then continued to rage and quit. No one kicked him out of anything. And this is the danger of the online situation, is that there are bad actors out there. There are people who hate watch. There are people who, I mean, look, like I said in that short I posted this morning, it's just a game. It's just a game. Like if your entire self-identity is tied up in role playing, like you might need therapy or to get outside and, as the kids say these days, touch grass. Because
I was just about to say touch grass.
It's just a fucking game. At the end of the day, it's just meant to be fun.
Mm-hmm.
It's not meant to be a measure of your humanity or your skill or anything like that. Why would people hate watch? Because people. So, a very intelligent friend of mine, who I will not name in case they're worried about being called out on it, but I still believe that they are a computer and not a human, said something that I found very entertaining, or actually very enlightening. Some people have to turn the lens outwards against other people, because if they don't, it will turn inwards on themselves, and they are not capable of handling that. Their minds can't do it. So they hate watch things. They clickbait. They get into the rage fill. They get their visceral feelings. These are the people Orwell was writing about when he talked about 1984, the 20 minutes of rage, or whatever it was, or the 2 minutes of rage, the daily hate. This is what they are. And this is what some of us provide them, is their daily hate. And I provide a lot of them their daily hate because I'm an opinionated, blunt, direct fucking human being who speaks his mind and will not censor himself for others. So they don't like me because I remind them of their dad. You know, I think that's what I do the day.
Hello, Nerds Nerd. Hello, Cal.
It is Cal's only reason for being here. Let the hate flow, Cal. Good.
Yes. I think Mr. Baker's right as well. Online gaming, whether it be on Discord or using VTT, is great for getting old gaming groups back together after decades.
Absolutely.
Also, it's great for getting us old blokes back into the hobby.
Well, I never left, but that's okay.
I drifted away. Drifted away, and then I drifted back. And now I'm stuck. You're stuck with me.
Now,
I was never part of it until last year. Now I'm stuck.
Yeah,
because we dragged you in.
Yes. Hello, Todd. So, yes, some people do hate watch. That is very, very true. And Brian, you're right.
Would it be fair to equate it to stalking an ex-girlfriend online?
What, hate watching?
Yeah, like they don't like you, but they can't help but like just checking what you're doing.
I never thought about that. It's a pretty dark thought process, to be quite honest, and I don't think I have the skill set to delve into that.
No, I certainly don't. Brian says here, without the online games, I would have had a tremendous problem pulling together groups to play in older games like TSR era D&D. Exactly. And I think the internet is one of the reasons, probably the reason, for the resurgence in a lot of older systems. People are discovering those older games for the first time. Plus, people who enjoyed those games, who were struggling to find games of them, are now able to use the internet to find like-minded people who will play those old games, and thus we try to teach those of us who have done just that, try to teach and share our enjoyment of them with the new generation of gamers. Isn't that right, Iman?
Yeah, I mean, you guys have definitely taught me a lot.
Yeah. And the newest game you've played is probably 7th edition Call of Cthulhu, but there is still very much that sort of old perilous. The perilous feel has never really gone from Call of Cthulhu, but it matches old school D&D at low levels in that sense, in which it is a perilous game where you have to think about what you're doing. You're not charging around being invincible heroes. You're trying to
Actions
survive.
have severe consequences.
Absolutely. And Mr. Baker, yes, I think there's some of that involved. I know some of my streams, I do get a downvote within the first 5 or 10 minutes of them starting. I believe, Blair, something happens pretty much to yours as well. There was a mysterious downvoter who hits us.
I have two of them. Every video. I've had videos before they've gone up that have been announced that have been downvoted. Some people are, what's the word I'm looking for? Basic bitches. And they're going to be basic bitches until the day they die because that's who they are. And you have to literally take the high ground now. This is what I've come to as my entire week of this bullshit again happening is take the fucking high ground, recognize when you're winning, when this is all they can do to exert their this is the only way they can yop is to go downvote your video or leave a mean comment. That's all they've got. That's all they'll ever have. And you just keep doing you by being an example. Right? So John does John as an example. Why am I on John's streams? Why do I come to John's streams? Because we still talk about role playing here. And that matters to me because that's what this is about, right? You want to sit there and tell me you know everything about role playing and you have the secrets of role playing? Well, then for fuck's sake, when you live stream, you better be the most amazing role players I ever saw. Otherwise, you're just talking a bunch of bullshit at your ass. And I'm just going to keep running games that people seem to enjoy, but more importantly, my players really enjoy.
Absolutely.
And everything else be damned. High ground, baby. I'm Obi-Wan, you're Anakin. Eat my shit. That's all I got to say. That's a Star Wars reference, John. That's sci-fi. It might confuse you, and I apologize for that.
You just called Star Wars sci-fi. That would set some people off.
Is it the Jawa or someone like that in Star Wars who are sort of all little hooded?
Yes. Good.
Right. Anyhow, yes, people do that, Richard. Andy's that's a reference to his character, Call of Cthulhu, who now has hemophobia. That's really not a good thing in a Call of Cthulhu game, especially as they're also there in Italy. But almost all the food,
a lot of blood in Italy that I'm unaware of.
Almost all foodstuffs are tomato based.
Yes.
Would hemophobia be triggered by tomatoes?
Oh, we've been I've been throwing in the tomatoes as much as possible to try and set.
My God, you're mean.
Well, not just that. There was a dessert which was all basically entirely made of red fruit and red sauce.
Wow. So is it possible that he doesn't have hemophobia? He has rohophobia or whatever it's called. For red.
Well, we can develop it into that if you want.
Fear of red, yeah.
Fear of red, yeah. It could easily develop into that. The worse it gets. But right. So my point anyway is that we are putting ourselves out there now on the internet. And when you put yourself out on the internet, you're on the internet warts and all. You put yourself there to be shot at, and people will shoot at you. But it does require a certain thickness of skin from time to time, and as Bear says, the ability to just rise above it. If you, I mean, I have clapped back a couple of times, but I've kept it fairly short and sweet.
Epically, by the way, you've You fucking ruled, man. You ate the fucking cake.
Charles. But keep it short and sweet. Just don't drag yourself into a war. Just keep it short and sweet. Made point, gone. But I'm willing to put myself out there and run games. I haven't done it yet. I've played in a game. I'm playing in a game at the moment. Bear, how long have you been running games streamed live for the world to see?
I started during COVID, during lockdown. I started streaming, and then I stopped when I decided it was not fun because it wasn't fun. But that was more, I think, based on the people I was playing with versus the actual experience. They were, you know, there was a couple of there was one really good player, and then the rest of them were a little bit, you know, particular.
Okay.
And when I started again with my new channel, and I started streaming, I think I started streaming Star Trek first. It was a lot of fun. Good players, good times. I think I was doing something before Star Trek. Yeah, I was doing something before Star Trek. But still, good times, good players, good fun. And now, with all the community we've built and the society of role-playing gamers that I run on Discord, I can actually find decent players for games now, and we get to have a lot more fun. It's no longer, as horrible as this is going to sound, it's no longer sorting through the dregs for a warm body. It's actual people who are engaged and want to be part of games, as opposed to, I can't, you were saying earlier, that guy who can't find a GM and there's a reason why. Well, that's no longer the issue for us. And so it's getting better. It's more fun, and it makes me enjoy it more.
Good. So the main question what is the key difference between you running a game at the table and running the game online and broadcasting a game online? 3 different types of game. Or is there no difference to how you do
there's
things?
Differences. There's absolutely differences. People don't know when to talk online. Even when they can see each other's faces, they still step over each other all the time and talk over each other. And it boils down to whoever's going to shut up first is going to allow someone to talk. And then sometimes you'll get at least 2 people who refuse to be the person that shuts up, so they just keep talking, both of them. And you're like, all right, fuck. And then you got to be like a little more draconian and be like, okay, one at a time, Steve, then Gus. Subtle things are lost, like winks and nods and head chin, stuff like that. That's all lost. And the propensity to be distracted while playing the game is high. And if Hungar was here, I'd be going, because you can always tell the people who are going to be distracted in the game because they do this. Which means even though you've told them cameras on for the game, they're doing something or dealing with something or distracted by something, and they don't want you to know. So the best their clever brain could come up with is turn off their camera. I fooled them all, haven't I?
But they often forget to turn off their microphones. So you can hear
sometimes
clump, clatter, thump, thump. Yeah,
sometimes.
Andy mentions there is a network lag, which can happen. It obviously can happen. And you get people stopping and say, after you, because...
And then you get the seance moment. The seance moment is my favorite moment. I think someone wants to join the game. Is that you, Bob? Bob, can you hear us? If you can hear us, Bob, please give us a sign. Like, it just, your game turns into a goddamn seance all of a sudden.
I just want to, if you just roll back that little bit of the stream there, there was a little fly buzzing around, caught it perfectly in my hand.
All right, Danielson.
Yes. Anyway, I just wanted to mention that I still have some reflexes at my old age. But what are the differences in the way you run the games, though, between those 3 mediums? Is there something different you do when you go online?
You kind of, in the back of your head, have to remember there's an audience. So sometimes you have to herd the cats a little bit harder to make sure the audience can hear everybody. Sometimes you got to be like it will test your father skills, because you will bust out your father voice at least once a session. Carl, pay attention. Like that will happen. And the best part is when you get the citizen rights, the player citizens in the chat, who will then attack you for being that way running your game. And it's like, you know what, buddy? If you don't like the way I'm running the game, that's your business. But if my players have a problem, that's when I'll care. And that's the big thing. Even though you have an audience, even though you're running for an online thing, it's still for the players that you're doing the game. So their wants, needs, and desires are paramount to the audience.
Here's one example I found this difficult last night. I had to role play an NPC who'd had his tongue and his hands removed, doing voice only on Discord. And he couldn't speak, and he couldn't handle anything either.
He didn't speak Italian either. Yeah.
No, and he was German. He was German.
No,
but
Italian.
Yeah. But I found myself sort of pointing, and I was thinking, oh, they can't actually see me, because I was there like with my fists like that.
That's amazing.
And then I realised I had to turn my camera on so that they could see me.
That's amazing.
But that is difficult, because it took me about 30 seconds to realise that they couldn't see me gesticulating, nodding, shaking my head, pulling faces, all that sort of stuff, while they were trying to communicate with him. So I ended up really just describing what he did rather than role-playing as him, because if I'd have been at the table, I wouldn't have done that. I would have very much role-played at him with all the grunts and gesticulations. But I couldn't do that very easily because we were playing Theatre of the Mind over Discord. And I couldn't guarantee.
But to be fair, it was good for us as well, because we could see what you were gesticulating, but then we still had to think, right, what can we say to him that would actually get a response that we can use?
Yeah, it wasn't ideal. It wasn't an ideal situation for that sort of NPC though. It was a challenge. And
we had to ask yes or no questions and stuff like that, just to like get a nod or a shake, and then we could build from there, basically.
Yeah, that was good that you did that, because it made my life a little bit more easily, a little bit easier. But I will say, I mean, when I run at a table, I am generally a lot more laid back, a lot more what you would call beer and pretzels. I don't mind so much the interruptions and food being about and all that sort of stuff, and laughing and joking, because when you're at a table, you can have little side conversations, whereas you can't have those when you're playing online. And if you're broadcasting the game, you definitely can't have them, because even when we're playing on Discord, we do have little chats in between. We have little sort of breaks between, and you might spend 5 minutes talking about something random and then go back to the game. But you can't do that when you're broadcasting, really, can you? You've got to keep the focus there. I think there is certainly more pressure on in terms of concentrating. And I know when I log on to Bear's game, I'm there to bring my A game. I don't want. If I do come across as being a little bit forceful sometimes in sort of trying to get involved in the sessions, is because I'm acutely aware that I'm also there to be. It's not just Bear who's doing the entertaining; it's on us, the players, to be entertaining.
Absolutely.
And us to engage as much as possible and be very clear in what we do. And I think that's important as well. We've got to be very clear in what we do. And I was getting quite self-conscious in the last session. There's something I really wanted to get done regarding the letter, because I wanted to get that involved. And I was trying to push it. I think I was trying to push it a bit too much early on in the session. But I'm glad I got a chance to bring it in later on.
Well, you foreshadowed it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I had, yeah. Absolutely. Andy says here, there's also a case that even with the camera on, people don't necessarily pay attention to what I'm doing on the camera.
Oh dear God! Or they're too busy engaging with the chat. You know what I mean? Like they're distracted by the words going by because it's ooh shiny, you know, or they're talking to their loved ones, or they're picking their nose or whatever. You know what I mean? Oh, yeah, it can get a little sometimes. You gotta take it in stride.
Yeah. I mean, yes. And I do agree, Andy, that sometimes side comments that turn to anecdotes or whatever can be a little bit mood breaking from time to time. And we had a few of those last night.
I think we have a few every night, vertently or inadvertently.
Yes. We do.
Points, that is.
Yes. What about phones at the table? I don't like them. One of our players on a Monday uses D&D Beyond, but he gets ribbed for it.
What's that?
It's an automated 5th edition D&D character sheet, because I still play in a 5th edition campaign on a Monday. I'm still playing in it. They're my friends. The DM is learning. We're there to support him, and he's not doing a bad job. There are aspects of the system that I don't like, and I've made it quite clear to they know I'm not a fan of the system. So I try and use the system as little as possible. And I'm trying to sort of break from some of the stereotypes of the system, and challenge myself to keep myself engaged in the mechanics as I can be, really, by not playing what you'd call a very standard character.
Okay.
Basically, there's a bit of a trope in 5th edition that warlocks are overly reliant on a certain spell called Eldritch Blast. All the time.
A trope, you say?
Okay, yeah.
There's a truism in D&D 5th edition.
And that's warlocks use Eldritch Blast.
Endlessly.
My warlock has never learnt it.
Oh, really?
He's level 7. He still hasn't got Eldritch Blast or anything associated with Eldritch Blast. I'm trying to avoid it as much as possible, as long as possible. I do have a shortage of damage-dealing spells, but that doesn't bother me. It doesn't bother me. But it does show up the weakness in the Warlock spell list. Without Eldritch Blast, they are not very powerful. But it doesn't bother me.
Sorry if I'm distracted, guys. I'm just wrapping up my work day here for another 20 minutes, and then I'll be more focused.
Oh, don't worry.
Good.
I don't know anything about Echo Knights, King Eric. What are they? Are they a 5th edition thing? I don't have any of the recent 5th edition books, so yes, Dungeon Minister. Listening to my eldest play 5th edition at the local game store, learned to loathe the word Eldritch. Happens to the lead singer of one of my favorite bands adopted the surname Eldritch. So,
playing 5th edition, I learned to loathe the word rogue.
Rogue.
Rogues are just the most broken ass class I've ever seen in my life. Like, it's insane. Like, they are in 5th edition, they dominate. Once the player makes them right, they get to a certain level, they can't be touched by area effect, they can't be touched by direct attack, they can fucking bip boppity boop all over the goddamn battlefield. They're an amazingly powerful class.
Yeah.
No, not hands of a clever. No, 5th edition, they're called rogues, Dungeon Minister.
In the hands of a clever player.
Oh my God. And I had one of those who killed a campaign because of his rogue, because we all just got tired of, all right, it's your turn. So, okay, John, you're up. What are you doing? Okay, I'm going to attack, and then I'm going to move here. Okay, great. Iman, you're up. What are you doing? I'm going to move over there and then shoot my bow. Okay, great. Steve, what are you doing? All right, well, for my first action, I'm going to do dip-a-dip-a-dip-a-doo. And then for my second action, I'm going to do dip-a-dip-a-doo. Then I have a bonus action. Oh, wait, I still have a reaction available to me. So we just got to the point where it'd be just like, okay, it's your turn. What 5 things are you doing this round? Because he knew how to use the game to get him the maximum leverage out of it.
Yeah. And that's one of my.
I think the way you did it. Sorry, John. I think the way that you did it in the heroic one shot the other day, Bear, was really good. You got everyone to take a turn before anyone had a second action or a third action.
Oh, that's heroic.
It's a different game.
That's when the order of battle in Heroic is everybody can move and take their first action, and if they have any other actions, they must wait till everybody else has had their first action, and then they go back to the top of the initiative order for second or more actions.
Yeah, no, I was just saying the way that you designed it is really good.
It has to be, otherwise one guy. So in Heroic, a speedster would dominate because they'd have multiple actions. So you'd start the fight, the speedster would go, okay, I'm going to run over there, I'm going to punch that guy, and I'm going to run over there and take his gun, I'm going to run over there and do that, and then I'm going to go disable the computer, and then I'm going to come back over there. Yeah. All right, so Zippy just finished the adventure. What the rest are you going to do? Order chips? You know, like...
Yeah.
Echo Knight's third edition. I didn't play third edition very much. I don't like it. It has become, for all the things I've heard more and more about it and seen more and more about it, it's lower on my list of D&D preferences than even fourth edition now.
To all the people suggesting play a version that calls them thieves instead of rogues, or saying you hate people who use the term rogues and all that fun stuff, I have a simpler solution. I don't play fucking D&D anymore. Or its variants or clones. Yeah.
Well,
now I don't ever have to deal with that bullshit.
Lots of us do. Lots of us still play OSE.
Oh, I know. But I mean, I have OSE. I love OSE, but I just refuse to play D&D anymore. I just will not do it.
I like OSE. Play it, and I would gladly run OSE for a game online.
Me all the time. There you go, Dungeon Minister.
You can play other things other than Beck Me. I mean, as you know, at Clericon, I am running an evening session of Call of Cthulhu.
Nice.
And you are welcome to play in that if you wish. I do. Quick question to Dungeon Minister: do we get to see how many people have signed up at our tables? And if so, who? I'd be interested because I've signed up for lots of tables already. I'm paid up and coming. I paid up last night.
I'm not signed up yet. I haven't paid yet. I am going, but I'm not running any games. I'm not selling any merchandise, and I'm not playing in any games. I'm there as a tourist, literally.
So you're just going to observe.
I'm going to observe.
Talking about Clericon.
Shake hands with people I've only met online. Stuff like that.
Maybe
it's my first RPG convention. I can't. I'm not there to dive in. I'm there to observe and see if it's something I like.
And maybe go for a beverage or that sort of
thing.
Exactly.
Or, after, hey, we're going to go for supper over at that, Chinese buffet place. Great. Let's do that. I'm there for the social aspect of it.
Yes. I wanted to sign up. I have signed up for basically every session, but if I would make way for other people for a couple of sessions if necessary, because I'd be quite happy to do something similar, just sort of hang around and socialize. I worry that I've almost signed up for too much. Anyway, going back to our topic.
Where is Saxius when we need him?
He's drowning in work at the moment.
Where do we sign up and pay for Clericon?
Clericon.com.
Really?
Clericon.com. There we go. If you're
That's
going to
so
Clericon,
easy.
It is. It's Clericon.com.
Is it Cleric on or Clericon? Please be specific.
Clericon.
I know.
Or Cleric on. It's either. It's
Cleric
either.
on.
.com. So, I will say, when I run a game through Discord, I am very, very aware that I have to be in control of the pacing, and I have to be more descriptive. When I'm DMing at a table, I'm the sort of DM who will often wave my hands around and gesticulate, that sort of thing, and that doesn't work when you're playing online. You've got to do it with your mouth, with your voice. And that is one big difference. And I can imagine on a live streamed game, certainly if you're up like this, like Bear is, so you can just see the face. Gesticulating, you can't really make out what you're doing with your hands so much, can you? It doesn't really, quite. So
sorry, for the UK. There we go.
Yeah. So I can imagine that is one difference. You have to be really aware of that when you're running online, even more so when you're running for an audience, because you've got to make yourself very clear to those who are watching. Because one of the points of it, you are there to have, first and foremost, you are there to have fun. You're there for everybody at the table to have fun. But if you're going to live stream a game, there's got to be a reason for it other than just getting yourself out there. If you want people to watch, they've got to enjoy it as well. They might be trying to learn something from you. I mean, I wouldn't want anyone to learn anything from me. I mean, take advice, but I don't always practice as I preach. I've admitted that now. But you are there to if you've got a YouTube channel, you are there to provide entertainment. It's in the definition of having a YouTube channel. So you want to entertain people, and you've got to be aware of the pace of the game and how clear you are. And I think with Bear's game, I like one thing I'm liking about Bear's game is he's very descriptive, and
yes,
there is very much if a player's been quiet, he will put you on the spot. He will single out certain players at certain times to keep people involved, because you don't want the game. Iman was quiet last session.
To be fair, no, right. And I do want to say this. It's almost like I'm sitting there taking everything in and thinking, right, what am I going to do with this? And then eventually it's been 2 hours and I haven't said anything.
Well, next session.
It's not like I don't want to contribute. It's like, fuck, I don't want to be that guy that takes over. But then by doing that, I end up going too far the other way and not doing anything.
Well, next session, I think that the focus for you next session, because we're going to have tips for players as well on this on this discussion tonight. My tip for you next session: get yourself in your shed beforehand. Get yourself comfortable.
No, the problem is the shed has worse connection than the house, which is why sometimes when I turn my camera off, it stops doing the robot-y voice and I can actually hear what they're saying.
Right, okay. Get yourself a wired...
If I turn my camera on, it would make everything worse.
Get yourself a wired connection to your shed.
Yeah, just run a goddamn CAD 100 cable out there, whatever it is, CAD 80.
You can get boosters. You can get boosters and stuff.
You can get a Wi-Fi booster and zap your Wi-Fi into the shed.
Yeah, I've got one.
He's on his phone, right? Not on a computer. Isn't that right?
That's right.
So he needs Wi-Fi. So just get a signal booster.
Yeah, I've got a Wi-Fi booster. That only helps so much.
Well, then you put a second booster right at the edge of the shed, and then you get the daisy chain booster effect.
That'd be one way of doing it. But
yeah,
what I will say is try and have your camera on. Then you'll be more aware people are watching you all the time, and have your drinks ready to the side of you, and have your smokes ready rolled up.
Yeah, no, that's what I try and do. Yeah. With the smoke thing, yeah. Because the other thing I wanted to ask, obviously, is Bear. Like, obviously, sometimes I'll be smoking something illegal during the session. Like, are you okay with that? With me being on camera?
It's not illegal in Canada.
All right, cool. That's fine. Okay, that's good. I don't have to be as anxious about that. Then.
When you do that, I will just do this. And let you have center stage for a while.
Oh, well, thank you.
There we go.
Oh, look at that.
Do we have a deal? But
no, it sounds good. But to be fair, I do appreciate your prompts, Bear, because it sort of gets me to realize, oh shit, I need to say something. I need to contribute more.
Yeah. The one thing you've got to remember is, I know a lot of the sessions are often dominated by the banter between me and Cody. We both have quite.
You think?
But that isn't intended to be all the time. The whole point is that my character is clashing with Cody at the moment, but that will peter out because it would become dull after a while.
Do you not
Baker
think
just
it
put
could?
your solution up for you there, Skippy?
Oh, cool. I'll have a look.
Mr. Baker
Do
gave
you
you
not
the
think
perfect
it could possibly be even worse than it was before? Because now you know you're the Knight's commander and you're going to want to take charge.
I've known I'm the Knights Commander. I'm just struggling to deal with the idea.
Well, whoa. You've been told you're the Knight
Yeah.
Commander.
I don't know what
And
it
Malachi's
involves.
been told he's the Fallen Templar. And Skippy Madru downstairs here has been told he's the walker between worlds. Doesn't mean necessarily that's actually what your final roles are. It just means that's what the wise man, Cody, who may not even be the wise man, thinks.
Imagine if Devere turns out to be the wise man.
Highly fucking unlikely.
But yeah, here we go. For those, here you go. In case you didn't see it, Iman.
Yeah, I was just reading it. Okay, I can put it up. Yeah, I think that's part of the problem because when I have the Wi-Fi booster here, it works for about an hour and then it stops for whatever reason.
Right. See, what I've got now, which fixed everything in my house for me, is I got a booster which plugs into the wall up where I am. There's a booster 2 floors below, but they communicate quite happily. And then I run a network cable, a Cat5 cable from that into my computer. So as long as the boosters are communicating, it acts like an internet connection.
My router / modem is right here, and it plugs directly into my computer.
Yeah, there you go. See, Niels is
I
nice
don't
and
do
consistent.
Wi-Fi unless it's on my tablet or my phone, and on my television Apple TV box. You know,
My router's right at the front of the house. I'm not, and my wife will not allow me to drill through 2 floors to get to it.
in the old days, I remember back in the early 2000s, we had an apartment with 2 floors, and we were people living on both floors, basically, like all roommates. And we looked into getting the house wired for Ethernet, so everybody would have an Ethernet jack in their house, in their bedroom. Very expensive. We decided to go with just running cables along the floorboards.
Yeah. Yes, it's not cheap. It's not cheap.
No. I need
Who
a
else
drink.
has
I'll be right
joined us?
back.
Okay, I was going to say who else? Elfbait's joined us in chat. Manfred's joined us in chat. Anybody else? Henry Tanner. Hello, Henry Tanner. Not a name I recognize. You're here on Bear's channel. Anybody else joined us? Yeah, it's all familiar names. Familiar names. So, with Bear not being here, I'm going to talk about things that I'm very conscious of when I'm playing in Bear's game. One.
Oh, you're doing it while he's not here.
Yeah. One. I need to know my character sheet.
I can hear him.
Okay, that's fine. I need to know my character sheet. Right? I need to know where things are on my character sheet. I need to know what dice to roll when. I think that's something the players need to take on board. If you're playing in a live game, you don't break it up by asking what dice you need to roll. I'm afraid. That is, you can get away with it on a Discord game just amongst friends, but if you're playing in a live game, you need to know what you're rolling. It's frustrating. So learn that as a player. Learn where things are on your character sheet. Have your character sheet in front of you at all times. Or if you've got 2 screens, have it on the other screen. It's all part of preparation. Also, one thing I do try and do is, I know people don't like all this acting sort of thing, but I do try and get into my character's headspace beforehand. And every character you play has aspects of your own personality in it, but you blow up quite often. They are very much stereotyped caricatures. You exaggerate them. Yes, Manfred. If you're a spellcaster, you need to know your spells. And if you're into the mindscape of your character, it helps you make decisions faster. It does indeed. One of the reasons why I often have a beer when I'm playing in those games is I find it makes me a little more lucid. And just not too much beer, just one or two, just helps me
Less
relax.
inside your own head and more in the moment.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I find that helps. Yeah, Andy, ask about dice. If it's a new system, new player, they can get some leeway about asking. Absolutely. And in a private game, do that. But yes, I'm not overly fussed if it's a private game that's not being streamed or whatever. It can be a little
No, but
frustrating.
there are certain limits. It's like, you know, if you've been playing in a session for 6 months, a year or whatever, and you're still asking, it's like, come on.
Yeah. But more so if you're playing, if you're asked to play in a streamed game, you've got a little bit of responsibility. Take your character. You've got to adapt yourself to the mood of the game. You've got to make your character fit with the game, even more so than any other game, because you don't want disruptions. And you've got to have that. I mean, you don't have to be au fait with all the rules. You just need to know about the basics. I mean, not everyone's going to know every rule in Palladium. And I can say now, Bear does not use every rule in Palladium. He just uses the basics, the basic mechanics. Never more than 1.5 pints. No, 2 or 3 is okay still. I know not for you because you're a lightweight, Manfred, but no, normally with a couple's okay. It's absolutely.
It also
fine.
depends on how you pace yourself with them.
Yeah, of course it does.
Yeah, if you down 3 straight away, it's obviously not going to be the same as if you slowly sip them throughout the session.
But I've been streaming for how best part of nearly 3 years now, on mostly. And before Bear's first session, I was nervous because I'd never played in that sort of game before. And
No, you should have been.
I should have been nervous.
Yeah.
Not at all, man. You did fine. You were great.
But I don't know, having a beer helped. It certainly did. A beer always helps, yes. Absolutely. And Dungeon Minister, you're right there. If you're asked to play in a stream game, you've been asked because the host thinks you'll be entertaining. It's your job, yes, within the rules and ethos of the game. So it's also your job to learn enough about your character to allow the game to flow. Because those people in chat are not there to hear you. Oh, is it a D20 for this? Is it a percentile for that? What damage do I do again? Where's it on my character sheet? Have dice ready, or a dice roller, or whatever, ready loaded, because you don't want to delay people for that.
Know what your character's abilities are. Boy, that aggravates me. Nothing aggravates me more than not knowing what your character's stuff does. Mm-hmm. Know your character. Just learn your character. Like when I run a heroic game and someone says, I'm going to use this talent. And that's not what that talent does. What does it do? I don't know. Why don't you read it and you tell me? You know, like,
yeah.
Lazy players are lazy players. It's just the way it is.
And you can get away with it at a table with your friends on a Friday night, all scoffing food and drinking whatever you brought along to drink.
Yeah,
that's not a problem. But it when you're playing online, certainly
you have a responsibility towards your audience.
Absolutely, yes, you do. And I'm going to say now, when I run Car Wars, I'm going to take everybody through the basics of the rules beforehand, and then I'm going to adjudicate all the rules. And I don't want anybody asking me what they need to roll, because it'll always be D6s.
Are you doing Car Wars or are you doing Auto Duel?
It'll be Car Wars.
So no role playing, just
no role playing. It'll just be a strategy in an arena with pre-made cars, which I will give to the players beforehand, so they will know what their weapons are. But also, what a little pet peeve of mine is I never want people to say to me, "Can I make a roll?" As a DM, I want you as a player to tell me what you're doing. Be precise about what you're doing as well. Don't be vague. Be precise. Be confident. And then let the DM then adjudicate what skill is needed.
Yep. Don't ask if you
helps
can make
things
the
flow.
roll. Tell me what you're doing, and I'll ask you for the roll. But more than that, don't roll unless you've been asked to roll.
Absolutely.
Oh, wow, does that get up my ass sideways when someone just says, what are you rolling? I'm making a perception check. Did I ask you for a perception check? Why are you rolling dice if you haven't been asked to roll dice?
It sounds like they need to be more perceptive in real life.
But when a player does that, they're telling you something. I'm bored. Give me something to do.
Maybe, yes.
That's
maybe.
the message. So pay attention to that. If the player says that, go, no, I don't want you to roll that. But, and then give them something to do immediately, and you'll re-engage them right back into the game.
Sometimes, though, that player wants to dominate the game a little bit.
Yes, that's what "shut the fuck up, Carl" is for. It's a great little statement. Yeah. Carl, shut the fuck up. It's Steve's turn.
Yeah.
Why is it always Carl?
Carl's an asshole. Have you played with Carl? Carl's a jerk.
No, I haven't.
Carl. You got to say his name, though, like you're the guy on Walking Dead. Carl.
Dungeon Minister. I wholeheartedly agree. And it's my job as DM of the whatever game, or Bear's job as DM of the game, to adjudicate how it's done.
So in the old Marble game, remember what they used to call the narrator or the GM?
I can't remember, no.
Judge.
Good. Right.
Yeah, good.
Now, in this day and age, that's a negative. Can't call someone a judge. But that's what it was. You were judging the situation. So all their advice was how to judge this, how to judge that. And it worked.
The adjudicator, the arbiter, that sort of thing.
Yeah. The referee.
Well, I think narrator is the one I prefer most because it really does encompass everything you're doing. You're setting the reality, you're telling the tale, you're bringing them from location to location, then letting them have them do stuff. Game master's fine, whatever, GM, whatever, DM. But now we have the word master is problematic. So anyone whose family name is Masturbates is really fucked. But referee makes it more like a sporting event. Judge makes it more like a domination.
Legal.
I think narrator works really well, ultimately. But that's me. Your mileage will vary. You like the terms you like.
In superhero context, it makes perfect sense.
Fair. You call him the editor if you want to really make it comic booky. But then you got to call rounds, panels,
true.
Encounters, issues and whatever. You can get lost in the weeds on that pretty damn quick.
Bear, there were new people piling in on your channel.
Yes, I'm so sorry. I apologize.
Hello, Doc Flamingo. Hello, Pistol. Nice to see new names. I've seen names before on Bear's stream. So good evening. Good evening. If you're missing out on all the chats, because most of it's happening in my channel.
You'll find the link in the description on my channel. So if you want to jump over to this chat so you can see everybody's chats at the same time, leave my room or leave mine open. I don't care. Do what you want. But you click on that link, it'll open up the chat in Geek's channel, and then you can be part of the conversation with everybody. Yeah, administrator, I don't like either.
No, I don't.
No. Don't like that. That feels like work.
I'm the supervisor of the game. Well, all right, who's game HR then that I can go complain to?
The manager for any Karens.
Yeah.
We always turn out to be
the game manager, please.
We become the herder of cats eventually, don't we? That always
ultimately, yeah. Cat boy. Oh wait, no, that means something else. Never mind.
Why cats and not sheep?
Because sheep do what they're told compared to cats. You ever had a cat?
No, but I want one.
Okay. If you ever get a cat, you will learn why
I
we
know
used to
some cats,
herding cats. No. You don't know cats until you live with cats. Then you know cats. And then you'll realize you can never know cats. They're going to do what they want to do. Never forget, we domesticated wolves and created dogs. Cats domesticated themselves because we had grain that attracts things they like to eat.
Correct.
Sorry, my pedagogy is coming through. I shall stop.
Well, no,
Yes,
we domesticated cats far earlier than dogs as well, right?
We didn't domesticate cats. They
cats
domesticated themselves.
Yes, cats were
They showed up
domesticated.
and we did not domesticate cats before dogs. Dogs were the first thing that allowed us to stop being mobile. By having dogs, we were able to sleep at night and have guards protecting us in the form of the dogs from things in the wild, which allowed us to then build civilization. Cats came along and prevented our food from being eaten by weevils and rats and mice too much. There's a chain of these events, sir.
Yes. Anyway, where were we? Next thing I wanted to come on to is when you're running online. I think the choice of game system is important.
For what? For online?
Yes.
Well, I certainly wouldn't LARP online, but I think any tabletop game can be played online, really, as long as it doesn't have too many moving pieces. And then even then, the virtual tabletops can accommodate for that.
I mean, broadcast games. Because
what do you think doesn't work?
Things that break down into very slow combat.
Not necessarily. I've seen people play 3E online.
Was it fun to watch?
I actually used to watch a 4E live stream that was really fun to watch because all the players were fun and they were nooblers. It was their first D&D ever playing 4E. And then halfway through their series, they switched to 5E when it came out. And it was so much fun watching all these people who had ever played 4E going, "Where's my healing surge? The hell? I hate this game." It was so fun. It was like...
But were you watching for the comedy or for the
I started watching because I wanted to watch a live D&D game. And then I got engrossed by the characters and the players playing them. I thought they were really good. Plus, there was this really hot Indian girl playing. And she was smoking.
Well, there we go. You had an ulterior motive. There we go.
Smoking hot.
But no, I think systems that are simpler translate a lot better. Yeah. I think systems that are simpler translate a lot better to online play, unless you can have something that will help. I could never imagine running MERP in any form of online setting, whether broadcast or through Discord or anything like that, without having the assistance of Roll20 for character sheets and help with the calculations. It would drive me potty. The game would be far too slow, and it just wouldn't be interesting because the pace of the game is so important. Something simple like a Marvel derived game like Heroic. Marvel games, I haven't played them for a long time, but I remember they fly along at a decent pace. Call of Cthulhu mechanics certainly do not get in the way of that system because it's so quick, so simple. For MERP, yes, VTT for automation, definitely. Old school D&D, like playing Theatre of the Mind, basic AD&D, various versions. I think those are fine, but I do think the DM needs to make a few adaptations in order to make them work better online. I've been watching Elfbait's streams on a Monday, and it's very much a case of the players know what they're rolling, and the game flows. It's quite a gentle paced game, but it's quite relaxing at the end of the day. It's not wildly heroic or anything like that. It's quite gritty, and
there's badger throwing apparently.
Oh yeah. There's also that sort of thing. Yes, yeah.
Is this the By the Sword campaign?
Yeah. And it doesn't bog down in combat. That's one thing it doesn't do. The combat is, when it happens, it's sporadic, but when it happens, it's swift and deadly and exciting, which is
like
what
combat should be.
Absolutely. So I think it's working well. Is it the sort of game for someone to watch who wants high fantasy and loads of magic and hijinks and that sort of stuff? No, it isn't. But it's a well played, well-run, tightly run game. So it's got an audience, which is good. I think our our Palladium game, I think ours is a little more theatrical in the way we're role playing. Certainly, the way, I mean, Cody is very, you and Cody with your voices are quite.
The way you say that sounds mildly like you want to have a dust up. You and Cody with
No.
your voices.
No,
Always with your
but no.
voices.
I think Cody's composure is very good. He's got a calm confidence when he's role playing.
Yeah,
I think that translates very well to that game. Max is good with the quips, and he times his quips well.
Who?
Max.
Legion of Myth.
Legion of Myth.
Oh, Max Liao. Sorry, I
Yeah.
told like he's Ethane in that game to me. I would never
Ethane,
even call him Max.
yeah. But he's good with his quips, and he times them well.
He really does, yeah.
But he doesn't overdo them.
No,
which is right. The reason they didn't have much more support for MERP in Roll20 is because it's an old system. That's the thing. It's an old system. So you've got to get the right sort of people. I mean, you've got to get the right sort of people, and you've got to have the right system for those people. And those people have got to be willing to invest in the system, the setting, and be willing to go with what the DM is doing. Mercurius Orlicus is a star. He's a star. Thank you. Who got memberships?
I don't know.
I'm only watching on StreamYard, so I can't see.
Yeah, I'm just opening up your channel as well now to see if I can see.
In
Dungeon
honor of
Minister
the
James S. Aman Heck 8 Mobius 8 and Eltard G.
Well, I recognise 4 of those names. So good. Was that Dungeon Minister got one of those? Did you say Dungeon Minister?
Yes, sir.
Good. He's got 40 Canadian dollars off me last night as well. So, anyway, Imam was hanging from the ceiling like a bat. Yes.
Yeah,
So-
in honor of Mercurius' generosity.
And we have Doc Flamingo as well. Look.
Cheers, Doc.
I've got Sprite tonight. It's a school night.
By the way, Manfred, it could be a Letard, and I just said Ailtard because that's funnier. I don't know how they pronounce their name, but Ailtard sounds really fun.
In what?
As a name, Ailtard. Hello, I'm Ailtard. You're Ailtard.
Lots of geeks. Yeah, we like lots of geeks. So, more tips for running and playing online. Things to do and things not to do. Here's one difference. That I like when I'm running online. I like being able to do things off screen when I'm running a game. I can get away with it so much more easily than at a table. I can have my books open and scattered around, and I can be grabbing things or whatever, and the players won't even notice.
Yeah.
And I don't think my players and my Discord games that I run realized until I told them just how disorganized I actually am, and how much I end up making up and not following things because I'm disorganized and can't find something, and I'm cursing to myself. They never see it. They never see it. They might hear me every now and again. Obviously, if I live stream the game, I'd have to be a lot more prepared. But it allows me to get away with a lot more improvisation, I feel, when I'm running on Discord, because my mind is constantly thinking about what I'm doing next. I'm a lot more focused on what I'm doing next, and I'm less. When I'm running a table, I try to keep my dice there, my notes there, screen there, and try and keep it all laid out. And I'm concentrating on that as well as trying to win the game. But when I'm running online, I really don't. It's just you get me talking rather too much, and I don't consult books often enough, and I ramble on and head down tangents, and I quite enjoy it. I find it easier. To go off rambling on tangents and improvising when I'm running on Discord. I don't know if that would work. I don't know if that would work in a live stream game though.
Yeah,
I think I'd be found out.
No, it works. Trust me. But this is my GMing style in a nutshell, which is basically I have an idea of what I want to do. I have a couple of set pieces I want to make sure get seen or happen or something like that. And then beyond that, let's see where the players take it. And I'll make it up as I go. I'll react to them as best I can and take it as it comes.
I mean, it might be
also with lots of good accents and voices.
I'm sorry?
So you're talking about
also with many good accents and voices.
Oh, thank you. Well, that's because I believe the NPCs should be distinct and more realized, right? So that way the players will feel they should be more realized when they interact with them. It's to give you something to play with, right? As opposed to it just being, hello, yes, I am the innkeeper. What do you require? Like, I mean, it's got to be a little bit of, hello, friend, stay a while and listen. Like, you got to have a little fun with it. Otherwise, what's the point?
You got to turn him into Sean Connery.
Sean Connery, listen, you fuck.
I think this is something we were discussing last night in our Call of Cthulhu game. The difficulty of switching between accents, because you've got to do everything with your voice much more online. I have great difficulty bouncing between accents. I really do. My accents aren't great anyway.
I will sometimes fuck up, and like the German guy will sound like he's Irish all of a sudden, but I'll notice it. But the worst is when a player is doing an accent and you start picking up the accent for a character coming back to them. That gets out of control fast.
So I think if I was running an online game, a broadcast game, I wouldn't focus on
accents,
but I would try and make speech patterns and different. That might come into it.
You trope it up. You're going to trope it up. So if they're meeting a hard-working blacksmith, you might want to make him a little bit like he's from Glasgow. Have a little Glaswegian going on there. And when he forge you the steel, but you take your time. You can have fun with that. But the trope immediately gives them a character. It immediately gives them a visual. It immediately gives the players something to connect with, right? And then you go against tropes sometimes when they meet the friendly tavern keeper, and he's like, we have the ale, what do you want? And they're like, whoa, this is not a friendly man, because he's yelling at me like some sort of Prussian maniac. But those things engage the players, either by making them feel comfortable or shocking them into a place where they have to take everything in again. What's boring, and I don't blame anyone who does it, because it's not easy to do voices and accents, no matter what assholes on YouTube tell you, I'm going to teach you how to do great character voices in just 5 minutes. Watch this video. Never mind those assholes. If it's what's boring is when everybody just sounds the same. Everybody you meet, the princess, the tavern owner, the blacksmith, the evil knight, the mad witch, the king, they all sound like this, hi, I'm Steve and I'm GMing. But even then, I don't fault Steve, the GM, for doing that, because he's doing the best he can. At least if he makes them interesting characters, he's going to have a great game. Ultimately, you play the way you can. Whether it's in person or whether it's online, you play at the skill level you have. Hopefully, you're improving as you go and you're getting more comfortable and you're exploring and you're doing stuff. But if all you're ever going to be is the player who says, I walk up to the bartender and I ask him if there are any rumors about the town, that's fine. Enjoy it. Play with it. It's meant to be fun. Just play the fucking game.
I don't think that sort of approach works quite so well if you do it all the time in a broadcast game.
Someone will bounce off you. Someone will give you something to play with. Someone will react to you. Trust me, it's a group they're all going to bounce off each other. They're going to do a whole thing, like it's going to be a thing. Like you always say, you can do a really good French accent, which I've never heard you do, but I believe
you've heard me do bad French accents.
I've heard you do bad. I'm sad. I've never heard you do the good one. So I'm assuming there's a hidden good one you haven't released.
What is wrong with my French accent? Is it too over? Is that slightly over the top? Too much a low?
Is a little peppy le pu,
well, there's nothing wrong with that. You can tell it.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, you can tell it is a French accent. You can tell I am
when
French.
you laugh, do you do the Gallic? When you laugh, that Gallic laugh. There you go. But the point is that you just have fun. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter. Listen, one of the greatest stories I ever saw in my life was the story about the new girl playing who was Spanish American, but she spoke Spanish as her first language, and she wasn't comfortable speaking English at the table as much because she had broken English. But the GM spoke Spanish, and he said, you know what? Talk to me in Spanish, and from now on, that's the language elves speak in my campaign. And boom, she was in. And boom, she engaged. Yeah. Work with the player within what they can do and find something to make them comfortable. And then this miracle happens. They blossom and they become a better player and they get more engaged and they try more things. If you sit around trying to hold them to a standard that they're not at, they're not going to have fun. You're not going to have fun. All the players at the table aren't going to have fun. And the audience isn't going to have fun if it's a live stream. So maybe learn to be flexible and not to be an arrogant ass about what you're doing.
Fun is infectious as well.
Abso-fucking-lutely.
Fun is infectious. If we're having fun playing and people are watching us having fun, it's more likely that they'll be having fun as well. I do want to bask for a moment. Thank you, Manfred. Let's just let's inflate our heads for a little bit.
Thank you. I literally, it's the players that make that game, and I just bounce off them, man. But thank you. I do not.
I feel like it's you that does the brunt of the work, and we bounce off you. To be honest.
Well, then apparently we've hit simpatico because we all think we're bouncing off each other, and that's exactly how it should be, right?
I role play I run games by bouncing as much as possible. I think that's the best way to be. And just try and bounce naturally off the DM and the other players. That's the way to do it. And
I like that Dungeon Minister said all the powerful men in his game sound like Liam Neeson threatening kidnappers. It'd be even funnier though if it was like the barmaid who comes over to your table and she's like, "I have a very special set of skills. You make your order now, bring me the drink, and it ends here. If not, I'll come back and I will kill you." That would be funnier to me,
Make sure to leave a tip. Or I will kill
Hello,
you.
Joe the lawyer. But yes, I will kill you.
But that's the thing, Joe. You're right. It's a role-playing mosh pit. People bouncing off each other and having fun and having a good time and getting really, really into it. You know what I mean? That's awesome. I love that analogy.
Yeah. I will use that. I will use that at some point because I
think it makes sense as well because the more people that are involved, the more chaotic it can get.
Yeah, but sometimes that chaos. Okay, so someone asked me about stage fright one day because they were worried about role playing and all that kind of stuff. They said, "How do I do this?" I said, "Well, listen, you're nervous, yeah." Laurence Olivier is arguably the greatest actor of the 20th century, and he would vomit before he would go on stage, even towards the end of his career, because he had profound stage fright. And someone asked him in an interview one time. They said, "How do you do it? How do you make yourself go out onto the stage?" And he said, "It's energy," and I just converted it into something useful. I'm still nervous, I'm still scared, but I'm converting the energy and it allows me to focus myself and continue on. Well, that chaos at a table can be disruptive, or it can be focusing chaos, where it's energy of everybody feeding off of each other.
It's like a lot of sports. I mean, when I was doing judo properly, competitively, when I was about to go onto a mat, often with 200 or 300 spectators, half of them were other fighters and members of other clubs and whatever who were there for their fighters. But you'd watch what was going on, and you'd be aware that you're going onto a mat in front of all these people. I'd be jigging from side to side. But you've then got to channel it. You've got to channel it.
Yes.
And it's the same when you're playing games. Channel the energy. Channel the nervousness.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Like it's just energy. And once you figure out how to channel it, you are going to have so much more fun, because that energy now becomes a battery, it becomes a drive, it becomes a catalyst for you to have a good time. And that energy is super fucking infectious to the other players.
Isn't it? Maybe I'm slightly wrong on this, but aren't fear and excitement generated in the same part of the brain?
Sorry, say that again, please.
Fear and excitement are both generated in like the same part of the brain, I think.
Possibly. I mean, it's all fight or flight, right? So one of the things I learned when I used to work in those fields I used to work in is that humans have 3 reactions when confronted with something overwhelming: flight, fight, or freeze. Right? Yep. One of 3 things is going to happen. They're going to run, they're going to attack, or they're going to stand there with their mouth open and die. But it's the same energy. It's just how they're processing the energy. But that's the same energy as when you're having fun on a roller coaster, or you're playing a game of basketball, or you're building up the courage to talk to that special someone that you've been crushing on real hard. Right? It's the same energy. And once you learn that it's the same energy, once you pick up the secret of the energy, now you can do anything. You can convert that and use it to your benefit. At least that's what
Doc Flamingo says, all my innkeepers turn into Basil Fawlty.
I wouldn't know about that.
No. Sybil!
My God, man. Polly!
Yes, we encountered Basil
Ball's
Fawlty.
head of the Brass Ball Inn, thank you.
We encountered Basil Fawlty, yes. But no, absolutely right. It is that. I mean, I think with Bears Game, certainly I still get that little bit of nervousness before the sessions. We're now 4 sessions in, and there's still that little bit of got to make this good tonight. Got to make this good, and you get that sort of bit of pressure. But
So do I.
It channels it. You just got to channel it.
Yeah,
make
I
it
get
work
that
to your,
I get that feeling.
Make it work to your advantage. Here's one little tip.
Game, sorry.
Go on, you go.
Well, in Cody's game, I just learned, because I hadn't played it so long and I didn't want to be an domineering player and steal every scene. I just reduced the character John Prester, the bastard sword. I just reduced his entire emotions to fuck. And that's it. That's all I need to do is a scene's happening. Hungar does something crazy. Brian says something insane. And my character just goes, fuck.
Yeah, you sneered at everything. It was hilarious.
Sorry, what was that?
You sneered at everything.
Oh, yeah. He hates everyone.
Hilarious.
Is he not in the attic and he's just like, those are the people he's got hidden in a secret cellar? What's going on over there?
There was a tap on my
What were they telling you? Shut up?
Probably keep it down a bit, yes. Probably keep it down a bit.
Isn't it nice being the master of your own home, sir?
They go to bed. They go to bed around this time, except my daughter and my wife have to be up fairly early. So,
well, then you should keep it the fuck down, sir.
I should, shouldn't I? I should talk like this instead.
Yeah, so we'll do the rest of the show just talking very close to our microphones.
Okay.
Sounds good. All right. So other things you can do online is you can also punch up images and share them for everybody to see, which is a really useful tool, especially in, say, a heroic game where I go, okay, this is what the villain looks like. Blah.
Yes.
And now we can move on.
Absolutely. We criticize a lot of electronic aids in games because I love playing the old-fashioned way at a table with paper, pencils, and dice. But online, you do have that opportunity, as you say, to pull up images, to quickly research things. No, Joe, do you really want us to keep talking like this then, Joe? You should meet my villain on a Tuesday night in Call of Cthulhu.
See, every time you talk close to the mic, that's just what I picture in my head.
Yes. You're warm.
Especially when he drags out words like that.
You are warm. Your flesh is warm. I like to feel warmth.
I need an adult.
Oh, wait, I got one. Here you go, Joe. You'll like this.
Moist.
Oh yes, yes.
I
That
will
word.
be dining well tonight.
Where did that come
Where's
from?
that fucking guy during my game? Where's that role playing,
Yeah.
motherfucker?
But no, one thing I wanted to come on to is I think playing online, more so than even at the time. I mean, something I do at the table is I try and set the tone of the session myself at the start. Almost, I try to break the ice, break any nerves by showing that I am willing to make a fool of myself, with bad accents, slightly hammy role playing, all that sort of thing. And I feel there's more. It's even more useful to do that online.
I agree. If after you guys met Basil Boar's Head, any of you were embarrassed about role playing, you can literally just eat the bag of dicks.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I played an absolute absurdly over the top, goofy caricature in front of you just to make sure it's okay. You can do whatever you need. Have fun. Let your hair down. Have a good
Yep.
time.
Yeah. I mean,
the other nice part about online games is you can go back and rewatch a session as a GM and figure out what you missed or what you didn't or what you forgot.
oh, that's something I don't think I would do.
Sorry, what?
I find that quite painful, I think. But
you get used to it.
Well, no, Mr. Baker. Yeah, it is the main villain in the Call of Cthulhu campaign.
Come on, connection.
Oh,
yes,
we heard you.
Siri will help you.
But yes, that was my main villain in the Call of Cthulhu campaign.
When I said that, and Siri turned on. Siri, go to sleep.
I do rather enjoy role playing him. I ham him up, absolutely. And if I had any sense of shame, I wouldn't use some of the phrases that he uses.
You guys want to try something just for fun?
Go on then.
Let's test AI. Come on, connect. There we go. Do me a favor. Please describe for me the difference between playing a role-playing game at a table and playing online. And was describing the benefits and drawbacks of each, if you can. Let's see.
Sure. Playing a role-playing game, RPG at a table, and playing online both have their unique sets of benefits and drawbacks. Playing at a table, benefits, face-to-face interaction. The biggest advantage is the direct face-to-face interaction. It can make role-playing more immersive and engaging. 2, physical props. You can use physical props like miniatures, maps, and dice, which can enhance the tactile experience. 3, immediate feedback. Communication is more fluid, with instant feedback and fewer misunderstandings. 4, stronger social bonds. Meeting in person often strengthens social bonds and camaraderie among players. Drawbacks. 1, logistics. It can be challenging to coordinate schedules and locations for everyone to meet regularly. 2, physical limitations. You are limited by the physical space available, which might restrict the number of players. 3, distractions. Being in the same room can sometimes lead to distractions that can disrupt the game. Playing online benefits. 1, flexibility. It's easier to coordinate games across different locations and time zones. Players can join from anywhere with an internet connection. 2, digital tools. Online platforms often provide tools like virtual dice rollers, digital character sheets, and dynamic maps, which can streamline gameplay. 3, access to resources. You have instant access to a vast array of online resources, including rulebooks, forums, and other player communities. 4, inclusivity. It can be more inclusive, allowing people who might not be able to meet in person due to disabilities or other constraints to participate. Drawbacks. 1, technical issues. Internet connectivity problems or software glitches can disrupt the game. 2, less personal interaction. The lack of face-to-face interaction can make it harder to read social cues and may feel less personal. 3, learning curve. There can be a learning curve with new software or platforms, which might be daunting for some players. Both formats can provide a great RPG experience, and the choice often depends on personal preferences and circumstances. Do you have a preference for one over the other? Or are you looking to decide which might be better for your group?
Thank you for your answer. That was most kind.
I think
Oh, yeah.
that was
Always
quite comprehensive.
Be polite to AI.
Information useful.
Always.
Anything specific you'd like to delve into further?
You have to teach AI that we are good at heart and be nice and polite to it. If you're a jerk to AI, we're gonna get our fucking Terminator future. Look at these fucking old men. I have an overwhelming urge to set off an EMP. Carrington event now. You guys, man, like go throw your wooden shoes at the steam engine, please.
I mean,
and yes, that was Chat GPT 4.0. Yeah.
was it? Huh?
Yeah, I'm very impressed with it. But again, it's a tool. Like anything else, it's a tool.
Yeah.
But anyway, so back to this. Yeah, so that broke down a lot of the stuff we were talking about already, right? We
Yeah,
already
yeah,
saw
yeah.
a lot of that information already there, things we've already discussed and touched on. And I think those are the surface level things that we can all agree on. Let's try now, us, going deeper. What's below the surface? So we've got the no pants dance, right? And I won't lie, I've done it. I've been like, meh, I'll just put on a shirt. And that's what I'm doing today because no one's going to see me below the waist, so I'm good. That's fine. That's a working from home benefit too. Going to team meetings with a fucking tie on and nothing else. But what else? What deep level shit can we get into that it's like the difference for online versus in person?
Ooh.
Yeah, it's a question. Or maybe someone in the chat's got some ideas. Who knows? Let's find out.
Yeah. I'm wondering if people playing online in Discord, this could be a good thing or a bad thing. I think you're less likely to send the game in darker directions if you're face to face than if you're just a disembodied voice online.
Sorry, you're less likely to go to a darker place or more likely?
I think you're at a table, you are less likely to send the game in a darker place because you're face to face with people. You've got to deal with the repercussions in real life of the things you're saying. I think a lot of these horror stories we hear come from online games, from people who may have some ulterior motives.
That's true. That's
what, like yourself and your sadistic nature, John?
Absolutely.
And you could be torturing what's his name, Andy, with actual cans of tomato sauce at the table.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Oh yeah, red wine, things like that. Yeah.
Wear a red shirt to the game.
I think I'd take a bottle of
licorice.
I'll take a bottle of tomato ketchup with me to the expo next weekend.
There you go.
Yeah,
why not?
Why not? But no, I think there is very much something that people can, as I say, become keyboard warriors online.
Oh, for sure.
And I don't think it's quite as much the case when you're actually speaking to somebody through Discord or whatever.
Well, no, face to face, you're in striking distance.
Of course you are.
People tend to behave a little bit better when they're in striking distance.
Manfred says, "What repercussions? Did you ever wonder where my last gaming group is?"
Yeah, we just heard them knocking on the trap door to the secret lair.
Yeah. I wonder whether Manfred's just worked out the plot of the one shot, the Call of Cthulhu one shot. I'm thinking of running already. You're more aggressive in person. All right. Okay.
Yeah.
I guess you know your audience better in person.
You do, yeah. I think.
But that can also.
So you know what you can and can't. Yeah.
So there's the old expression: familiarity breeds contempt, right? So you can have your old friends you've been playing with for years around a table, and sometimes issues you may have or past grudges can come to the surface in a game, and people will feel a lot more comfortable airing that stuff in the moment than online, where we're more stranger, and therefore we might be a little more on our best behavior, hopefully.
Manfred, I'm going to save the Yorkshire one for the convention for Clericon, I think. But I can't
But
run
you
the
went with
Yorkshire
Yorkhampton.
I can't run that one at the at Games Expo because one of my friends is going who's already played it. He knows it. Yeah. And his group failed as well.
It's a proper shame, that is.
But yeah, I think Elfbait's made a good point here as well. I think playing face to face, players have a little more commitment.
Yeah.
But
that will also lead to people who don't want to play feeling obligated to show up and then putting themselves in a negative space.
Yes, that is very possible. That is very.
So everything
possible.
we've said is double-edged.
Yes, it is. It is.
Yep.
It depends on the people. It depends on the
Yeah.
people. As with any of these things, it depends on the people.
Oh, playing online is 50% brilliant and 50% toxic cancer. You know, with an audience, it's just the way it is. You know, it's always going to be this whole juggling act, and eventually getting the right people to play the game with you in the right environment. The audience you can't control. I've literally seen people say, "Well, you should make live games members only or subscribers only," and it's like, well, why? I'm gonna change how I do things because some fucking cockwomble comes over and decides that they're gonna, be a dick about things. No, fuck them. I can mute them in the chat, and if they want to go do stuff on their own stuff, that's their own business. I don't give a shit anymore. Don't tell me about it. I don't want to hear about it, but let them go run their mouths. Run.
I think we've already touched on this one, Doc Flamingo, but I think that is true. People tend to stay more on track.
Oh, yeah.
They tend to. But there is the whole getting distracted, switching your camera off thing, which we did talk about earlier.
Yeah, man.
Which can happen.
I don't get distracted.
But no, you said you wanted to go into some deeper aspects.
Yeah.
I mean, what sort of deeper aspects were you thinking of?
Well, I mean, I don't know. Okay, body odor, that's a deep aspect, right? I mean, that's for sure. I can show up to roll for a game, wake up, 20 minutes before the game, throw on the same shirt I wore yesterday and play. Right? I don't have to worry if I had to take a shower before we play online or something like that. You can certainly be a lot lazier in certain areas. But at the same time, you got to be more attentive. You got to be paying more attention to an online game because it's easy to miss things. So it can be challenging in the attention deficit disorder place. You know what I mean? Like that's definitely something that happens. I see that with Brian, right? Gaming with ADHD. I've literally watched him in the middle of the games go, and then he'll catch himself and try and refocus. You know what I mean? But it happens.
Yeah.
So you're going to deal with that. Downside, people's negative personality traits are going to come through a lot more because they're willing to be, they're not in the same room with you. They can turn off the computer and you're gone. You're not in their sphere anymore. So that gives certain people the rage quit freedom that they got that magic rage quit ticket that they can play. Okay.
As you know, as you experienced.
I had someone rage quit in life one time too. It's life. They didn't flip the table because it was too heavy, but they wanted to. But they had to listen to the game. Well, I think I think there's a lot, and it's a sidetrack here, but I think there's a lot of things we need to keep in mind when dealing with other human beings, which is other human beings have significant, just like all of us, significant mental, we'll say, events in their past that may or may not color how they interpret or deal with certain things. I think the digital allows for less control of those behavior patterns, where in person there's more control should be exerted, you would think. I've seen it go both ways, but I think generally, and I'm only speaking in generalizations on this one, it's more comfortable online to let your worst personality aspects shine. And that's a sad thing. because it can be very negative to the group experience. Or it can be like what happened with us. We had the rage quit, and then we said, all right, we're going to keep playing. We keep playing. We had an amazing game anyway.
Yeah.
We had fun, you know?
I mean, I haven't watched a lot of your heroic sessions. I've watched a couple of your heroic sessions, but I did watch that one because I wonder why. Something's happened on Bear's game last night. I'll make a point of watching this. Yeah, I watched that, and I couldn't get what it was.
Oh no! Listen, I don't. Someone said to me, have you and Kai made? I'm like, there's nothing to do. Like, the guy had an event. I'm not going to harp on it. If he ever wants to talk to me, he can reach out to me. Otherwise, I'm not worrying about it. I'm not hurt. I'm not insulted. I'm not offended. I don't need to go and make amends. There's nothing to amend. Bygones, water under the bridge at this point in time, right? Now, sadly, some people did try and turn this into a propaganda piece against me. In fact, one of them uses it in their intro video. We all know who that is. It begins with cock and ends with womble. But at the end of the day, so what? Who cares? Do you give a shit? I don't give a shit. No. Fuck them. Fuck the haters. Or as Eli loves to say, FTG. Fuck that guy. Because we're giving too much air to negative people. And that's one of the dangers of the online world, is stepping into this world where some people are just shitty people. And that's the way it is. Okay. Doesn't mean you have to give them air. Doesn't mean you have to give them importance. Doesn't mean you have to worry about what they say. In real life, I judge every assault or verbal attack or insult by the person giving it. Are they someone that I should be worried about? Are they someone that I should be? They're so much better than me that their judgment of me is impactful, that I should be listening to what they say because I see them as a much more evolved, better, or controlled person. Well, same thing online, man. If someone's criticizing my role-playing games and then I watch theirs and it's like watching fucking grass grow, maybe I don't give a shit what they think about my game anymore. Maybe I don't give a shit what they think about my players anymore. Maybe I don't give a shit about anything they have to say because they're just talking. Mm-hmm. They're just fucking... They're not... Money talk.
I would argue even that's generous. And grass is nice to look at.
Watching paint dry then maybe? But the point is that it's that old expression from the 80s. Money talks, bullshit walks. Right? And that's just the way it is. So if they're just going to be fucking bullshit, well, they can walk that. As I love to say, they can fuck off up the model village. And that's all we have to worry about at that point in time. We don't need to give voice to that. Every time I run a game, there are between 20, depending on the game, between 20 and over 70 people who will show up to watch those games. The lion's share, by a large margin, are positive about the event, encouraging about the event, engage with the players, do super chats to fucking give me bonuses against the players, give the players bonuses against me, whatever the case may be. A small percentage are bitter cunts who want to talk shit and cause problems. They do not matter. We have a disability as humans. 100 people tell us something good, one person tells us something negative, and we obsess about the one negative. I'm saying let go of the negative. Be reinforced by the positive that shows up and wants you to feel good and enjoys what you're doing, is engaging with you and likes you. The people who don't like you, who have opinions about you, are not important because they don't like you. They're never going to say something nice about you. They're going to look for weakness. They're going to pick for places that they can try and get under your armor. Fucking shore that armor up there, Sir Rusty. Buff it, polish it, reinforce it, throw a pad on underneath, and get back in the fight. Don't worry about those fucking saps.
As I said right at the start of the stream, I said if you're putting yourself out there on YouTube, you have to grow a thicker skin. It is as simple as that, because there will be people who will find you on YouTube who are there just to try and wind you up. And the best thing to do is click mute. Bye. So that's it is as simple as that. It is as simple as that. And it's quite easy to work out who's there to wind you up. It's simple as once you've seen one or two of them at it, you're like, oh, okay, here's another one of those. Bye. And I've done that a few times. Not very often. Not had to do it very often. Some people, one person said further up, who was it? Sergeant Dan stuff. Online gaming is like drugs and alcohol. Asshole personality will come out.
Yeah.
If you want to know what I'm like when alcohol has affected me, there are a few streams. Last Thursday's stream, there was a good amount of alcohol running through my system. So if you ever want to know what Geek's like when he's drunk,
Watch that.
Watch that. Yes.
It was entertaining, to be honest. It was quite fun. As a sober person who is like a teetotaler at this point in my life, not by like, I'm against alcohol and drugs. I just stopped because it wasn't having fun anymore. I was highly amused, and it was nice to be there for you. It was nice for us all as a community to show up and hang out with you that night. I thought that was a really cool thing. It was a really good.
It had been a stressful day. It had been a stressful day, and it was nice to chill out.
Mm-hmm.
And I will admit that the booze did help me get through what could have been a crappy afternoon.
Yeah,
it turned out into a good afternoon. It became an enjoyable afternoon because lots of us had lots of booze, and lots of us just sort of let it all out. And I talked constantly for about 6 hours in that pub, and then talked constantly for 3.5 hours online afterwards. I probably talked in my sleep as well, because that's what happens when I'm drunk. I just talk. But no, Manfred, I was very drunk. I had a 2-day hangover after that. So,
you were drunk. Trust me. If we had been in the pub I was working at the time, I'd have been like, all right, let's just keep one eye on this game. Not because he's going to hurt someone, but because he's going to fall over and bounce his head off a table at some point. So let's just keep one eye on him.
Yeah.
And then about an hour into your stream, I would have been having the conversation with the waitress of, I think he's done for about an hour. Let's give him an hour, see if he sobers up.
I did towards the end of the stream. You'd gone by then. You'd be gone by then, yeah. I started on Southern Comfort towards the end of the stream, but that didn't.
Yeah, I saw that. Drunk. You made me jealous because when I was a younger man, I used to love Soko and Coke. Oh my God, a Soko and Coke made me happier than a pig in shit at the bar. And now I'm like, well, I'm diabetic and I don't drink anymore. Well, I certainly wouldn't be having a Soko and Coke now. That would not happen.
Mercurius, it's because I've talked for a living for the last 27 years. It's as simple as that. I'm a part-time pub quiz host. So my job is to sit in pubs and ask questions and try and keep drunken people entertained. And I just flow into that sort of mode. So I just talk and talk and talk.
Part-time pub quiz host, full-time awesome guy.
Yeah. But no, at one point I was hosting five or six quiz nights a week. At one point,
poor liver.
I wasn't. No, I never drank.
People never gave you pints. People never were like, "Here's a pint, man."
I was always driving.
Ah, it's clever. Very clever.
Because I take all my own equipment, so speakers and stuff. That's why I've always had an estate car or a station wagon, as you would call it over there. Need a nice big boot to shove it all in.
Believe it or not, Pistol, I don't drink anything special. I actually consume coffee way more than I should, and the cream in coffee is bad. The cream in coffee only affects me when I sing. When I sing, I can feel the cream, in my throat, and but I also keep a glass of sugar-free flavored water at all times with me, and that helps me get the pasties out of the mouth. But just staying hydrated. You'll hear singers say tea with honey, tea with lemon, hot water with honey and lemon, and all. Water and pepper, and you'll hear all these amazing things that they do. At the end of the day, hydration. Just stay hydrated.
When I sing, you say you can feel the cream rise. I can feel I feel the shut up vibes heading in my direction.
What do I sing? I sing poorly. That's what I sing. But I don't care. I sing for fun, and I don't give a shit if I sing badly. And to be honest, every woman who's ever dated me has at one point or another called me up and said, I want to sleep sing. And I'm like, okay. And I wind up singing some fucking 80s song for them. Like everybody wants to rule the world or something. And they love it and they fall asleep on the phone. So doesn't matter whether you're a good singer or not.
I've never had a woman say that to me.
Never?
No woman has ever asked me to sing for them because my vocal range is probably very similar to Sid Vicious.
Ooh, you could do some good Sex Pistols then. Are you saying you couldn't carry a tune if it had handles? Is that what you're saying, sir?
I can't. No. A karaoke night, I'll either do the Sid Vicious version of My Way. I occasionally do the Toy Dolls, Nelly the Elephant.
Yeah.
And that's about it, really. Oh, I have done Pretty Fly for a White Guy by The Offspring before. That's probably a little bit beyond me.
It's not really singing when you're doing Offspring songs.
No, it isn't.
It's more like shouting intermittently into a microphone.
Oh, I do Word Up as well.
By Cameo?
No, I do the Gun version.
Gun?
There was a rock band who covered Word Up.
No.
Yeah.
Because I love Cameo. That version is so cool. All right,
yeah, it's good. Yeah.
Word Up as a rock song? My
yeah.
God.
Yeah. I did once attempt Aerosmith's Dream On and absolutely destroyed it. I destroyed it.
There are songs I will not sing because this is my register. You know what I mean? It's down here. It's not up there.
The register I've got just goes ding. It's a cash register. Just
Coco Shuko Papashango. I believe the term is codpiece. I believe it was a codpiece he wore. There we go. Victor Gibson got it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Larry Blackman. That was his name.
What? Sorry, what?
His name was Larry Blackman.
Is he British?
Don't think so.
I always felt he was, just from the way he does his thing. I always thought he was like from, because I've noticed like British black guys all tend to do something interesting when they sing with their voices. Like, what's his name? Fucking Roland Gift.
Yeah.
That whole thing he does with his voice is so amazing. You know what I mean? Whereas American guys all try and sound like they're, People Bryson or fucking, what's it, Luther Vandross? You know what I mean? Like they sort of have that they're either going R&B or they're going blues until rap came along, and then they didn't have to do either of those things. But now we're going back to R&B, so it's weird. But I find British guys it's so amazing. You'll listen to some British talk, and then they sing perfect English, and you're like, why can't you talk like that?
That's so true, actually.
Yeah, that is true.
All right, we're way off topic now.
Oh, yeah. One other thing for playing online: schedule breaks. It requires more concentration. Your sessions are likely to be a little bit shorter sometimes because of the mental demands of playing online. So schedule regular breaks. Everybody goes to the toilet at the same time. Like
school children,
like female housemates a certain time of the month.
Okay, that was a bridge too far.
It's true though.
I'm not.
It happens, but no, a break every hour and a half or so, 2 hours, that sort of time, just enough people to wet their whistle. It reduces disruption. It gets and it lets people get their little bits of chatter out of the way as well. Because when you are socializing with people, it can be a little bit frustrating sometimes because you sometimes want to chatter, but having those scheduled breaks is your chatter time. So use it, chatter during those times, and then go into game.
Sure.
Yeah, I when I'm drunk, I go there more often. There's no filter. I just say what I think.
Was he wrong though? But was he wrong though?
No.
What wrong? Was who what wrong? What with the who now?
Oh, it calls back to last Thursday's drunken stream where we're talking about John lambasting someone. He was like, "Yeah, but was I wrong though?"
No. Oh, I do vaguely remember that. Yes. I do vaguely remember that. And I wasn't wrong. I know I wasn't wrong. I found the stream and I know who I was talking about. And I was completely right.
I have no idea what the fuck you're talking about.
It was one of my earliest appearances on Legion of Myth.
Uh-oh.
And the stiff upper lipped Englishman sort of broke for a little bit, and I ranted at somebody.
Yeah, I've done that too. I can't.
Yeah,
it happens.
But I wasn't wrong. The guy had made a video talking about something he knew nothing about, and he was showing himself up. He was showing himself up. So I had to put it straight. I was quite respectful, I think, in the way I said it. Was I? No, I probably wasn't. Probably wasn't. Anyway, have we pretty much hammered online gaming? Are we just talking nonsense now?
I think we're.
Is there anything anyone wants to ask in chat about playing online? Anyone who's not played a game online at all, who wants to get an idea of things to do and things not to do? I don't mean live streaming. I just mean playing online for this one.
See, for me, it's the opposite, right? Because I've played quite a number of games online now, and I've only ever played one game in person, which was a singular game of Warhammer 40k back like 10 years ago. So I'm really going to get to feel the difference playing in person in a week and a half when we're at UK Games Expo.
Yeah, it is different.
And I'll get to see the difference in how you run as well, because I know how you run online.
Absolutely. And I imagine you will see a difference.
Oh, you're going to be much more mean. It's Call of Cthulhu after all.
Will I be, though? Will I be
more mean? I don't know.
I don't know. No, I don't know either. I mean, no, I do. I don't think my meanness changes for Call of Cthulhu. I'm not a mean Call of Cthulhu keeper anyway. I want you to win. I just want to torment you along the way, which is any Call of Cthulhu keeper should want to do.
I thoroughly enjoy every bit of it, though, just so you know.
Yeah. Straw Piglet, that's probably the hardest part. Knowing, as was mentioned earlier, there can be a little bit of lag sometimes, and you can get people going, and it's after you, no, after you, that sort of thing. And that can be quite difficult. It does help to be able to see people's faces, but it's not perfect.
Andy mentioned something a while back as well, like when we're playing games in Discord, sometimes people who aren't part of the session will pop in, and sometimes they'll say something and it sort of ruins the immersion a bit.
Most of the time they pop in, they don't say anything, but there have been a few occasions where people do. And yeah, it's a difficult one. I would hope people who do pop in to listen in will be respectful. No, we're not. Slan, you are perfectly respectful. That's why you're one of the reasons you're called Silent Old Slan on the server at the moment.
Not you, Slan. Don't worry, it's not you.
Yeah, you slink in silently. But yeah, I mean, if everyone one of the biggest problems with playing online is getting the pace right in terms of knowing when to shut up and let other people speak. It can be a little frustrating sitting there for a while waiting for your turn, but you've got to develop that patience. And sometimes the moment will be gone by the time it's your turn to speak because somebody else is still speaking. You've got to be willing to take your turn. You've got to be willing to bite your lip, and sometimes got to be willing to let those moments go. And if there's a bit of role play going on between two people, it's not always welcome just someone chirping in and interrupting. So, but it varies. I mean, Manfred, last night was a one thing we had. Like, I'm gonna put Manfred. I'm gonna call him out here a little bit.
Uh-oh.
They were in Trieste last night, and Manfred had visited the place. He knows the place. Didn't say he lived there for a while or something. So he suddenly got really, really eager about Trieste's history and all the places in there. And there were a few little sort of tangents he sent people off on. But I think that's just it's a little bit of uncontrolled enthusiasm. Oh, you didn't live there. I know you visited there, and I don't mind a bit of enthusiasm. Sometimes it did. Sometimes it did distract.
I have to take a little bit of the blame here because it was me that said, "Oh, I wonder how historically accurate this map is."
And then that set him off. Was that what it was? Was that what it was?
But look, I'll hold my hands up and say, "Look, it was partially my fault."
But don't worry, Manfred. Don't worry, Manfred. What matters most is that you enjoyed the game.
Yes.
What matters most is that you enjoyed the game. But yes, as you said earlier, you suspect you might have a little bit of ADHD in there. That's very possible. A lot of us do. A lot of us who play, and something we've got to learn is a lot of us do have these little quirks where we don't quite understand when we're being a little bit frustrating. I think it's the same for real life, same in face to face, and it can be difficult. It can be difficult to adjust. It takes time. It takes practice.
I think I have this thing where, like, if someone says something and I can make a joke about it, I have to make a joke in that moment. Otherwise, the moment's gone. And sometimes it can be disruptive, despite it most of the time being funny.
Yes, in the pre-express session, you were Stoke Newington. Yes, Andy, you did wax lyrical a little bit about Stoke Newington in that session, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter as far as I'm concerned, because it. And yes, I understand that, or that compulsion to say things in the spur of the moment. I got in trouble at school throughout my teenage years because I couldn't bite my tongue. I couldn't hold it back. Had to say it there and then, and it's taken a long time for me to control that. I still can't completely, but I think playing a lot online has helped me in that sense. I'm not perfect, but I'm not as bad as I was. So yeah, and it can be frustrating because you've got this urge, you've got this little voice in the back of your head going, say it, say it, say it, say it, and whatever it might be.
Yeah.
The intrusive thoughts sometimes win. So
Yeah, they do. They do sometimes win. I have mild ADHD symptoms and mild Asperger's symptoms, Eric. Not to any great degree, but they're there. It's one reason why I'm disorganized, and one reason why I really enjoy playing entirely voice games, because I can really immerse myself in it. I can talk. That's something I do quite well, and I'm quite imaginative, and I'm quite good at improvisation. I'm terrible organization. So some of the issues I have at the table with my organization, losing bits of paper and whatever, get hidden when the game's online, and I quite like that. I do quite like that because people can't see me digging through my papers to find things. But my symptoms are only mild, and I have learned to control them. I've learned to control them a lot better since I got a diagnosis, and it all fell into place. And I was like, yeah, that's why I do that. That's why I do that. Okay, now I know why I'm doing that, and that helped. It helped a lot.
I'm OCD. I know it. I'm not on the spectrum. I took like fucking a ridiculous amount of autism tests this year because a friend of mine thought she was autistic. Turns out she is. So I took a bunch of tests with her as solidarity, and on every goddamn one from whatever medical institution it was, I scored no autism traits. I'm like, wow, not even one? Like, Jesus Christ. Like, that's pretty intense. But I have OCD. Absolutely. I want things done the right way, and I will fucking fixate on them. And the worst is when it's creativity. If I'm creating a map or I'm writing something and I know I have to fix something, I will fucking obsess about it until I fix it. It'll distract me, you know? But as a result, my games are really good because I put a lot of work into them.
It can help. We can channel things. things like that. Once you sort of understand a little bit about how they work and why you are how they are, why you are how you are, you can find styles that suit you. You can channel them, and I think I've managed to channel mine. Certainly, the positive feedback I get now from winning games, I think I've managed to channel mine into the right style for me. So I think it's good. I think it's a great hobby for that, because there are so many ways to play our games.
Yes, and I
ways that
particularly enjoy the madness and depravity in Call of Cthulhu. So
yeah. I get very odd dreams. My brain goes into very weird places when I'm asleep, and I'm wondering if some of the Call of Cthulhu stuff is dredging up what I've dreamt. Does that sort of give you an idea of just how odd my dreams are sometimes?
Yeah.
How disturbing they are.
Yeah.
I also have something else I have, which I it's a pain in the arse, but it does help my creativity. Are you all familiar with something called phosphenes? When you
why does that ring a bell?
When you close your eyes,
you close your eyes, yeah.
When you close your eyes, do you see something?
I see color. I can see like a warbly color and darkness around it, but I don't see images. I can if I think about something, but I don't see it.
Those colors you see are caused by something called phosphenes, and the different degrees of them.
Okay.
I get wild kaleidoscopes.
Oh, I don't. I just get like sort of like it's almost like it's the water is black and there's little colors coming out of it, but they're very muted.
Okay, so you're that's sort of grade 1 level phosphenes.
Okay.
Mine are constantly grade 4 level, where they're malleable images, often kaleidoscopes forming into images. But it does help. It helps with creativity. I can close my eyes and be somewhere else within 20 seconds. It's weird. It is weird.
Sometimes I've been really, really high, and I can like picture mental images which are so much more vivid than I can normally.
See, I never got any of that. When I smoked things years ago. It just made me really chill. But no, I mean, I some of the adventures I've come up with, I've closed my eyes and just sort of I wouldn't say dozed, because I'm not asleep, but I'm seeing things. I think, oh, that, and if I can catch the image, I can put it down on paper. But hey, that's and the worst images I get are when I wake up. It's sleep inertia. I think it's associated with the phosphenes, and it's sort of like I get lots of pinging fast images when I'm waking up. I can never catch those and remember those.
Yeah, it's like your eyes and your brain are adjusting to the real world after being stuck in the other place for so long.
Yeah, and it can be quite difficult.
Very interesting.
Cthulhu is coming through me.
There is something to be said about that state between sleep and awake, where like you're just sort of half asleep or half awake. You're about to doze off, but you've just woken up. That sort of state.
I hate when you're falling asleep and you start to dream and you jerk and you kick your leg and it wakes you up. I hate that so much.
Yeah.
Or your cat jumps on you. Where are you, ass? There you are, asshole.
Victor, my painting skills are very limited. I can paint miniatures, but I can't paint on paper. I'm good at drawing maps, but I'm not good at drawing from memory. I can copy well, but I'm not very creative drawing. That's one little oddity. But that's the way we are. I'm proud of my maps. My maps are nice. The people who've seen my maps, I'm very proud of those.
Well, this is one of the things I like about AI tools, and one of the things I loved about Photoshop was it allowed me, someone who couldn't draw a straight line with a ruler, to be able to actually tap into my creativity and bring it to life and get it out there without having to go pay thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars to someone that I'm just going to wind up going back and forth with and eventually just going, fuck it, whatever, that's fine, great, let's move on. This lets my OCD work to my advantage, and that's why I'm not scared of AI. I think it's a fine tool. But I think the ability for people to express themselves creatively is one of the finest forms of therapy that exists. And the more people who can do it, the better it's going to be.
I'm still reply to King Eric. I was asking about therapy in the UK. It took me 3 years on a waiting list to see somebody.
Bloody hell.
It took me 2.5 years, and then the therapist and I didn't get along because the first session I said to her, she goes, well, how do you feel about this whole event? I said, how do you feel about this whole thing you're doing? I said, well, so long as we don't end the session with you asking me what I think, we'll be fine. And sure as shit, the end of the session was, well, how do you feel about all this? What do you think? And I was just like, all right, I'm done. Done. Yeah, public health care.
6 months. I thought that was a long time.
Oh, dude, try and get a family doctor in Canada.
I had to wait 3 years. It was probably more like 2.5. I mean, when I finally got the referral, it was about 2.5. We do, but there's a wait for it for more specialist stuff.
Yeah, the downside of universal health care is you pay for it in your taxes, and it's a bad system. You want to see the best system, the best mixed system? Sweden has an amazing universal health care and private. And the rule is, if you cannot be seen by the public system in a reasonable amount of time, and I think it's 90 days or something, depending on the condition, it's 30 days for other conditions, you can go to the private, and the government has to pay the bill on it. Guess what happened after a year of that? The public got way more efficient all of a sudden and started processing and seeing people in better times because they got real sick of paying for those private fucking clinics.
I mean, if you've got something serious that needs immediate attention, you will get that immediate attention, no questions asked.
Yes, people have died on waiting lists in Canada.
And
still
but what that does mean here is that if it's not deemed as being that serious, you will wait a long time. So,
Sweden's system sucks unless you're Swedish. Well, Canada's system sucks, and even if you are Canadian. So, But are we going to do that? We're going to get off role playing and start talking about healthcare?
No, I don't think so. I mean,
it's pretty much. Have you been stabbed? No. Have you had a heart attack? No. Okay, you're gonna have to wait then.
Yeah, are you bleeding currently?
Yeah.
They always actually do you have any pains, any chest pains? And if you have chest pains, boy, you're in. You're in.
What I can say is the palliative care that my father-in-law got was absolutely outstanding. He rarely had to wait for anything, but he had stage 4 cancer, so that's the difference. And my father's well looked after at the moment. He can't walk anymore. He's well looked after, but we've got such an aging population that if you're younger and you've got something that's not deemed to be as serious, you're gonna have to wait a long time, I'm afraid. So it's the way it is. It's the way it is here, unless you want to pay, and then it's quick. Right. Anyway, let's get off that topic. Gaming can be therapy. It can be frustrating. It can be. I don't think gaming should be used as therapy, but I think it can be. It can be very therapeutic. It's to be around like-minded people enjoying a hobby together. I think that is a good thing and a very positive thing.
Just to remind you all, it's just a fucking game.
Absolutely.
Louder for the people in the back.
It's just a fucking game.
Do we have we had any of the hate watchers on lurking tonight? No hate on mine. Any hate on yours?
No, I think
Good.
I haven't checked. Let me check and see if I have it. I'm sure the downvote has shown up.
Mercurius, I hope it goes well. It's got to be painful, so I hope they can sort that out. Yeah, exactly. I mean, yeah, I had a.
Oh yeah, the hater showed up on mine. I've had the downvote on this stream.
Okay.
Thanks, hater.
I had a nasty judo injury, and it was dealt with immediately.
Oh dear.
Do you want me to describe it? It's up to you.
Are we gonna start describing injuries?
No, I don't think so. It involved a large chunk of torn skin peeling off my head. So, yeah, and I felt it rip, and people in the dojo heard it rip. It was all torn down there, and the flap was hanging off. And my daughter did it. It was caused by my daughter.
What happened?
Oh, go on. Right. We were doing rapid fire throws. At the time, she weighed about 50 kilos, which is about 7 stone, which is about 110 pounds. I weighed about 160 pounds. I went running at her. You had to run at the person, and they had to react. And as soon as they picked themselves up from throwing one person, they'd stand up in front of the mat and immediately react to the person running at them. And it'd be like, you do it for a minute, bang, 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 constantly throwing. And unfortunately, the mat we'd got had the sponge inside had degraded at the front, and there's these little metal eyelets that run around the edge. And as she threw me, she sort of buckled a bit because I was heavier, so heavy. She hadn't quite braced herself properly, and my head slid along one of these eyelets, slicing down there. And immediately one side of my body turned red.
Oh yeah, you bleed from the head, man.
Yeah.
How many stitches did you need?
It got glued. It
Where?
got glued.
Nice.
Yeah, it was quite painful. It was quite painful when they were applying the glue down there and sticking.
Yeah, for sure, man. I've never broken a bone in my body, but I've dislocated so many things. It's not even funny. I was doing Taekwondo and we were doing just jumping jacks. And when I came down from the jumping jack, I was about 220 of those days. I was in pretty good shape. My foot landed right between two mats. So as my foot went in, my ankle went and my foot popped out, folded up, touched the inside of my leg, and then popped back into place. The scream that came out of me was epic, and it was followed by the loudest fuck I've ever said in my life. To which, of course, my teacher, Kim, she's like, and I'm like, and I'm pointing at my leg, and she just watches my ankle go like a fucking grapefruit. Oh, that was a fun one. And then painful. This finger. Notice how this finger sits. Right? When I first started doing martial arts, I had a bad habit of letting my fingers up. And my teacher kept warning, this was my Shotokan teacher. He kept going, don't do that. Don't do that. And then one day he went, and the finger touched here. Ooh. And then he grabbed it and he snapped it back into place. Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
If I was to strip off my upper top off my body, which I'm not going to do, and flex, you would see that one shoulder is odd.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I did my rotator cuffs.
Yeah. I did my meniscus in my right knee, and because of a misdiagnosis, I put on 200 pounds over the course of 10 years because they kept saying, oh, it was just a sprain. It wasn't. It turned out it was a torn meniscus. And as a result of favoring that knee, I developed arthrosis in my left knee. So my patella in my left knee is just off a bit, and when it bends, it scrapes the cartilage.
Oh, yum.
So my ex, one day, we were doing something, and she just looked at me and she said, you're constantly in pain, aren't you? I'm like, oh, yeah, 24 hours a day, I'm in pain. She's like, you don't get enough credit for not murdering people. I'm like, I know. I really don't.
King Eric says at one time his head fell off, but he snapped it back on again.
His head fell off and he snapped it back on again?
Is that because you were a medieval king and it fell off due to an axe due to being executed for treason or something? I don't know. Anyway, let's not talk.
Luxury. When I was a lad, we used to get up 8:30 in the morning, 12 hours before we went to sleep. Jesus Christ.
Yes. So, has anyone had anything worse than their head falling off? No, good.
Work 18 hours down at mill, pay mill owner for the privilege. Jesus Christ.
Andy,
Is that
yes,
the
head dive.
Yorkshireman? What is that sketch called? What is it? It's the Monty Python sketch. Is that the Yorkshiremen or something? What do they call that?
So.
They just
I
sit
think
around talking about how hard their life was.
Yeah, what each step goes up.
Yeah, they're just each one outdoing the
The
next.
4 Yorkshiremen.
The 4 Yorkshiremen, that's it, yeah.
Yes. Andy, it wasn't Uchimata she was trying to throw me with, it was a Ponsunagi. But yeah, head diving throws are illegal in judo. But yeah, might not have been the best choice of throw against a short fat bloke. So, games. Let's get back to games.
Okay.
Come on, chat. Let's. I'm channeling inner Saxius. Saxius hasn't been with us tonight, but we need some of Saxius's influence. So come on, chat. Ask us stuff about games, preferably playing games online or whatever you want. To be honest, we've been going for 2 hours 25 minutes. We talked a lot about online gaming for the first 2 hours. So ask us whatever you want.
Yeah, we'll answer anything within reason.
Have I played Hero Quest? No, I have not.
Nor
That was
I.
a very quick one. I saw a big Hero Quest set in the Bring and Buy section of last year's Games Expo, but they wanted a lot of money for it.
Bastards.
More money than I was willing to fork out for it. So, I think we were talking about...
As in Heron the Hunter?
So we were talking about £100 for a battered set. It had a few expansions and stuff, and it said it was complete, but it was about £100. Which genre works better online? I say
fantasy.
horror works. I say horror works best.
I say fantasy.
If you're playing
just
Discord,
because the lion's share of online resources are there for it.
That's true, but I think just if you're playing Discord, Theatre of the Mind, I think if you've got a little bit of patience and you're willing to sort of really concentrate on it, I think horror works well because it lets the mind do all the work. Maps, need to get better at maps. I can't help you make the tactical maps. I don't like tactical maps, not very much. Here's one thing. Yes, playing online. The only thing, I mean, I know people like it, but I'm not a massive fan of dice honor systems where people roll their own dice. I think it's better for the audience, the people who are watching, to have a dice roller so the audience can see the rolling and watch the dice skip across the screen and go, ooh, and ah, and experience seeing the 1s and the 20s and whatever with the players. I think it loses a little when you're playing with real dice. Good for the player, but for the audience, I think the dice rollers that you get on things like Owlbear do the job. Personally. But that's, I mean, because when you're playing at the table, we all roll into the middle of the table for combat dice. And I think that adds to the atmosphere of the game. You're cheering all the rolls and going, ooh, and ah. So at a table, real dice all the time. But online, I like the idea of visible dice. If you've got 2 cameras, maybe focus a camera down on your dice as well, so you can see people rolling dice if you want to roll real dice. if you're streaming a game, I don't think you can stuff the audience, Mercurius, because I think if you're streaming a game, you're doing it for the audience as well. But yeah, if we could all have 2 cameras and use real dice, have a little dice tray sort of set up to the side with a camera on it, and roll into the dice, roll dice into the tray with a camera watching it. That's the ideal option. But not everyone's going to have 2 cameras, are they? So that's something to think about for the future. 2 cameras, 1 on the dice tray. Yeah, I think that would work well. I don't like dice towers. I will admit. I don't see the point in them. Nice looking online rollers. I like Owlbears. I think Owlbears is good.
Owlbear Rodeo?
Yeah.
Is that the old one or the new one, though? Because I heard the new one, they went total VTT and like lost all their charm.
They haven't really changed. They haven't changed the dice roller, as far as I know.
Okay.
I'll get Owlbears up and show you if you've seen it. We'll get it up on screen, and I will share it for those who haven't seen Owlbear. I think it works. It works for us. Share screen. Here we go. Now, if I can just zoom in on this a little bit. Oh, no, you can't change the size of it, unfortunately. But you see this dice tray here?
Yeah.
You click on the dice you want. I'm going to roll percentile dice. Click roll. There you go. 82.
That's nice. Simple,
It's
easy
quite nice.
breezy.
It is.
I hate
It
roll
is.
20s.
Yeah. And you can change the color of your
Yeah,
dice.
roll 20 is kind of crap, but I like Owlbear.
Here we
Apart
go.
from the fact
Right,
it keeps disconnecting me.
there we go. There's a nice 19. I've just wasted that 19. Or you can go 3d6. 1, 2, 3. Roll 3d6. 11.
Can you customize your dice?
You can change the colors, but you have a limited palette, so you can't customize them beyond the colors you see there. So there's eight different colors you can use. But here you can, for example, if I wanted to roll two brown ones and 2 red ones, there we are. I think I might use that for my Fighting Fantasy streams for combat. Because there we go. You got 7 on the 2 red ones and 4 on the two brown ones. Nice wood effect ones. Andy's dived in. Look. Andy's got the link. There he is. Eloise was the name of the character he was playing in the Dark Crusader side campaign. But you can see other people rolling dice there. And one of the nice little thing on it is it stores the rolls at the bottom. You can see their last roll at the bottom. Can you see down there? So you can see he's rolled a 93. It's stored there. So yeah, I like that. It's not overbearing in any way, shape, or form, and it works. So oh, you've wasted a 98 there. 27. There we go. And Andy's happy now. He's happy. Hello, Gene. Hello, Gene. Oh, have they got the correct D4s? Oh no, they've got the wrong D4s. That's a downvote.
Oh, you don't like the number at the top?
I don't. No, I bought a pack of about 16 D4s from Amazon and handed two or three out to everyone in my group, to each of them. So use these. They're the old school ones.
That's particular.
Yes. But no, I think that's a handy little dice roller to have, and I would certainly
Oh, 18. Not bad.
I would certainly support using this if you're running a game online. I think if you can set up the screen so it just sits in the corner, you can see everyone's roles. I think it's good. It's good. But it's obviously it's up to everyone who's playing. And look at overlaid it nicely. There's Iman, Sergeant Buckshot. That's his character in Call of Cthulhu.
Sergeant Buckshot.
Yeah. That's because his previous one before, Dr. Ted E. Bear, died.
You're welcome.
Bear spelt Behr, as in sort of the Germanic surname. Edward E. Bear.
No, these are really bad rolls.
They're bad for Call of Cthulhu. They're great for MERP. But there you go. That's a little tool that can be used. We use it quite a lot for our online games. We use it for OSE when we play on a Saturday. We use it for Call of Cthulhu on a Tuesday.
Hey, man, roll for sanity. Oh, you passed. What the fuck? That's new.
Yeah. I've got some D4s with the tips cut off and the numbers put on the flat bit. I got those. I bought a big pack of the odd different dice at the expo last year. I haven't used many of them to say, but they're nice to look at. Marco's asking, are we pumped Heroic is about to start?
I am going to be so happy when I am done this backer kit thing because it has been stressful as hell. But yes, I'm very excited and it's come along very nicely. And I'm like everybody involved in the project, from my creation of the base system to April's writing of the fluff to make it into a full game, to the art team, to the layout team. Everybody is committed to making this the best fucking game we can make it. We want fucking Heroic to be the game of 2025. You know what I mean? Like, we really want this to be amazing. And with your support, maybe we'll get a nomination for an Emmy or something. That would be fun, eh?
That would be marvelous. That would be marvelous.
That'd be cool. But for me, the greatest reward is just people playing the game and having a good time. That's what matters more than anything.
Yeah. I mean, I know my local group they aren't into the superhero side of things. So if I run it or if I played it, it'll be online. But I have backed it. I'm not a big superhero sort, but I have backed it, and I will certainly give it a chance in terms of running and playing. So,
well, if it wasn't for the damn time difference, I would absolutely love to run you in a game. But maybe we could get all the Saturday game guys together and do a one shot or something and see how that plays out.
Very possibly.
What do you say, young Iman? Would you be interested in giving it a try at some point?
Heroic, yeah, man, definitely.
Yeah, definitely. All right, then I love it. That's great. I don't know why I went to Scotland, but I decided to go to Scotland for a minute.
So, Iman, what would your superhero be?
I don't even know.
Yeah, I would definitely make you guys roll random characters. Because I would want to see what the dice made your heads think. Oh, no. Heroic can be used for superheroes, fantasy, sci-fi, horror, detectives, G.I. Joe. Like, it can do that. Game engine can do anything because it's a simple, basic engine.
Well, it's largely based on the Marvel superheroes.
Marvel superheroes from TSR. Yeah, exactly. It's an evolution.
And it works.
It works so well.
Yeah.
And
simple.
For those who didn't ask, we are currently at 7 days left on the backer kit. We have 369 backers, and we've raised $27,640 Canadian. If we get to 30,000, everybody gets a print copy of the Whimsy cards, or print on demand. So that'll be nice, but I don't think we're going to make it that far. I think we've hit our peak, and I think that's as far as we're going. And I'm okay with that because my ultimate goal was just to make the initial cost to make the goddamn game. So And if you are thinking about backing the game now, please, for the love of God, just get a PDF. I promise you, you'll get the same cost print on demand once it's up on Drive-Thru-RPG. I'll give anybody with the PDF who wants to get a POD copy later a coupon so they get it for the same base, no extra cost. But right now, we need to build up a little bit of a cushion of financing, because when you fulfill anything production-wise, you're going to run into problems. And when you run into problems, the only way you can fix them is by throwing money at them. So what happens is everybody who takes a print copy now moving forward, like don't unprint, we're good now, has a cost associated with producing that book for them that eats into the cushion. Everybody taking a PDF only right now, you're just giving me money to put the cushion together, because the PDF to deliver to you doesn't cost me extra money. So for me, I'm just like, please, if you want to back right now, back for a PDF only. I promise you, anyone who backs only for a PDF will be given an at-cost print-on-demand coupon later, so they can get the book later if they want in a printed copy. Please, namaste. But you know what? You do what you want.
So, hello, Chris. Hello, Joker. Two more people joining us in chat.
Time's up. Is that Joker? Yeah,
that's Joker. Yes. He, of course, he's a big superhero fan. He's more than he's a DC. He's a DC.
He's a DC guy. Yeah,
that's not DC. I love DC.
Yeah, he's a DC.
So $25 Canadian, Manfred, for the PDF only. After that, everything goes up. You know what? I'll just give you guys the link. John, I'm going to post it in my chat. I'll give it here in the back channel for you if you want to post it in your chat for anybody who wants to go. So there you go. You got it in your channel. And let me go to my channel, and I'll throw up the link, even though they're used to seeing it by this point in time. They all know it. And if you want to back, please back. I would be very, very happy if you did. And again, take a PDF, and I promise you'll get an at-cost print-on-demand coupon once it goes up live on Drive-Thru-RPG for being a PDF backer. I promise. I will not screw you on that.
Bear, do you want to see my Marvel superheroes collection again?
Yeah, because I'm so in love with it.
It's over there somewhere.
Yeah, I do want to see it again, because some of it's coming my way, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Yes. Coming your way for Clericon.
You know what? That's now the only reason I'm going to Clericon is to see you, and not just for the handoff, but because I would feel bad if you came to my country and I didn't come see you.
Oh.
And I will have 1 pint with you. 1 pint.
Oh, even better.
I don't drink, but I'll have 1 beer with you. And you're
you don't
paying.
have to have a beer.
Look at that.
I don't. How much a beer's in Canada?
It's ridiculously expensive at a pub. But that's okay. We'll figure it out. I'll probably pay my own, because I'm like, if I'm going to drink, I'm only going to drink either a Kilkenny or a Guinness, and that's it.
I'm quite happy with that.
Depending on how the day goes, maybe I'll have a Kilkenny and a Guinness. Who knows?
Whoa.
Well, I don't know what time we're finishing. I don't know what time the sessions are and how long the $90,000 per Guinness.
Well, I tell you what, Andy, you can always watch the repeat. They're always up for you to go watch later, right? So you can always see them again. They're always there. You can always just go to the channel and always take a look at them, sir. Do not worry about the time differential. Oh, you sometimes watch them when you can't sleep. That's awesome, man. Thank you. I really appreciate that.
You send him to sleep. That's what he's saying.
Yeah, no, Grumpy, I don't know what's going to happen for me getting up to Clericon, because I'm trying to talk a buddy of mine into going so we can drive up together. But I'm definitely of the mindset of I need to find a hotel room, because I am 50. At that point, I'll be a 54-year-old man who does not fucking bunk with other people. Like, no. When I sleep,
I'm bunking. Mage, if you do turn up for this, because he's out tonight, but Mage, thank you. I wouldn't be able to afford to go if I wasn't staying at Mage's place. So he's organised all of that. Good man.
If we don't ever hear from you again, we know why.
Because it turned out he was a serial killer.
Well, no, I'll have been consumed by Ace Eric, won't I? You'll see me in one of the Soul Gems on one of Mage's videos.
Hey, what do you think it makes the puppets out of?
Ooh, how very 80s horror anthology of you.
Yeah, but Iman, Iman, you probably don't know the D&D lore regarding. I mean, have you seen Mage's characters, Ace hyphen Eric and Merlin Stigandaldor? Have you seen any of his videos?
Yeah, I watched one or two. Yeah.
Look who's there. It's Mage's music.
He is there, yes,
Oh,
yes.
no. Oh, you obviously heard us talking about
What?
them.
Yeah, Ace hyphen Eric is a demi-lich, and they fight you by sucking your soul, and your soul gets trapped into the eye gems, or the teeth, and things like that.
Okay.
I ran a game one
Delightful.
time where my best friend was playing a wizard, and he wound up getting turned against his will into a lich after his enemy had basically defeated him and then made him into a lich. But he got his phylactery. And at one point in a crisis situation, he says, I drink the phylactery. And everyone at the table went, what? He goes, I drink it. And we're like, okay, you drink the phylactery. Great. Now you are your own phylactery. Well, do I get my soul back? It's not how it works, brother. Sorry. It's in you, but it's sitting in your non-functional stomach now. Players, man. Players are hilarious.
I sometimes feel like I have my soul in my stomach trying to get out. It's usually caused by dairy products. Clericon. How do you find out about Clericon? Clericon, you go to clericon.com. I will pop that in here. I haven't booked my flight yet. No, I paid for my my ticket for the supper on the Friday and the entry fee yesterday. But I haven't booked the flight yet. I can't do it this month because we've had a few big expenditures go out on the credit card this month, such as my car insurance. So it'll have to be next month. But hey ho. But next month is only in a couple of weeks. And I found prices more in my range if I drive up to Manchester. So I'm going to be flying direct from Manchester, I think.
Yeah, I'm just going to drive. I mean, my buddy's probably going to not want to go. He's going to say yes, 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 and then no. So, I mean, Grumpy Old Slan and I will work out something where I can get a lift up with him or something.
Slan's in chat. You could ask him now.
Well, he already mentioned it. It's like a 6 or 7 hour drive, I guess.
You never know, John. You might see me at the airport.
If you come, Iman, that'll be epic.
There you go. There's the challenge, but no pressure.
Well, I need to renew my passport, and I need to save up some money for a ticket and stuff.
Yes. I know that's the issue.
Yeah, the one thing Toronto doesn't do that Montreal does do is there's a highway that you can take that bypasses the city of Montreal, right? Like, it's beautiful. Like, you just avoid the entire city when you're heading east or west, and you don't have to deal with any of the traffic. Toronto, on the other hand, all the highways go straight through the fucking city. So you wind up dealing with Toronto traffic, and Toronto traffic is fucking epic.
It's probably
6 hours from Montreal to East Toronto, and then about another 6 hours across Toronto. Exactly. It's probably 100%.
It's probably a lot like London before it had the M25.
There is an alternate, but it's a toll. Is that the 407? The 410? Which is that one, Sean? I know there's one that is a toll, but I didn't realize it bypasses the whole city because fuck, I'll pay the toll. How much is the toll? 407. Yeah, that's the 407. How much does that fucking cost? I'll pay it.
Yeah, if you want to waste 6 hours of your life, I'll pay some money.
Yeah, would you? So is 20 minutes of my life for $50 worth it? Could be.
Anyway, we are drawing towards the end of tonight's stream. We've got 9 minutes of stream left.
That's awesome. I just ordered my supper.
Oh, well, there you go.
I got tired of you, so I wasn't going to cook, so I just ordered pizza.
Nice.
Poison.
Now I'll eat like a few slices of it, throw it in the fridge, and have something for lunch tomorrow.
It's poison.
That's it.
I don't care. At this point, I don't care. I'm just hungry and need to eat.
Oh, plus dollars per kilometer, depending on the
Oh,
time
yeah,
of day.
Toronto. If there's one thing Toronto will do, it'll be suck money out of you like fucking vampires on blood.
Oh, joy.
Very expensive shitty is what I'm trying to say.
Oh, we've had
yeah.
our fair share of vampires, haven't we, John?
Yeah. Yes. Yes. Only Fenelix doesn't suck money from you all.
I should run you through a game of Chill, John.
I don't know it.
What's that?
Play some horror that isn't Cthulhu based.
I've heard of it, but I don't know it. Is it good?
Please elaborate, sir.
So Chill is a horror game, which you can use just for basic horror, but it has its own background, which is basically you're part of the Societas Argenta Vitas Aeternatea, the Eternal Way of the Silver, the Eternal Society of the Silver Way or something. SAVE, S-A-V-E. And you're basically investigators who are part of SAVE, who get sent to investigate paranormal events. And that's all you need to know.
That's perfect. That's enough.
And I would run you through probably one of my favorite adventures I ever ran, which was basically one of you is a professor, and the other people are part of his team who are going to one of the students' grandmother's house because it may be haunted.
And it's a horror game, so of course it is. Or it's got something going on.
Yeah, but
there.
the point is what is the haunting and what you're going to do about it? So I've never run the pace setter version. I only ever ran the Mayfair version. But if I could get my hands on a decent copy, a physical copy of the pace setter Chill, I would probably read it and use that because it's very similar to Marvel. And I found the Mayfair system, while good, was a bit clunky. The new one's garbage. I don't like the new Chill at all. The third edition, it's terrible.
So 6 hours across Toronto. Time.
Oh yeah.
I could be at the Scotland border in 6 hours. I could pass the Scotland border in 6 hours if Manchester's playing ball.
I could be where Andy is in 6 hours.
Yeah.
And he's all the way at the bottom.
He's exaggerating 6 hours to cross Toronto, but it is like an hour minimum. Like the traffic is insane in that city.
You couldn't go across London in an hour.
On the highways?
I don't think so.
No?
No. Last time I was in London, it took me about 2 hours to get out of the centre.
Wow. My chair's going down slowly.
So yeah, I mean Toronto and London traffic's probably very similar, but London does have the M25
Okay,
running around the edge.
legitimately in Toronto, they've put in 6-lane highways, so like 12 lanes, and they are blocked almost all day long. Because you guys don't have car culture there the way we do here, right? Like you have car culture, but our cities are built for cars, right? So everybody has a fucking car. And they're all out there driving. It's 50 kilometers across Toronto at 30 cents, $4 exit and entry fee. So I don't know how much that is because I suck at math. So 50K.
It's about 16, about $16 to $17. It's about $20.
All right, so it cost me about $25. All right, there we go. Old Grumpy Old Slan, if we go, I'll pay the fucking toll for the 407 to get there faster.
M25 is the largest car park in Europe. You're not wrong there. If you go anywhere near the M25 at any time other than the middle of the night or early hours of the morning.
What's the one in Good Omens that was designed to be like an Eldritch Portal sigil or something? Which highway was that they refer to in Good Omens? Is it the M25?
The M25 is circular.
There's a highway they refer to in Good Omens that was the work of Crowley that was basically just like it's satanic. This highway is designed to make people go crazy.
Probably is the M25 then. Yeah, M25. It's a big circle though. And yeah, it's horrible. And Chris Rea's song, The Road to Hell, was written, I believe it's written about the M25. I think. Anyway.
Okay. In fact, very few people on the face of the planet know that the very shape of the M25 forms the sign of Odgara in the language of the black priesthood of ancient Mu and means "Hail the great beast, devourer of worlds." The thousands of motorists who daily fume their way around its serpentine lengths have had the same effect as water on a prayer wheel, grinding out an endless fog of low-grade evil to pollute the metaphysical atmosphere for scores of miles around. It was one of Crowley's better achievements. It had taken years to achieve it and involved 3 computer hacks, 2 break-ins, 1 minor bribery, and on one wet night when all else had failed, 2 hours in a squelchy field shifting marker pegs, a few but occultly incredibly significant meters. You ever read Good Omens?
I haven't, no.
You would love it, John. Like, I'm telling you, you would love Good Omens. Trust me on that, man. Especially just for the other horsemen of the apocalypse with such names as grievous bodily harm. It's amazing. I mean, come on, it's Gaiman and Pratchett. How much more do you need to get you on board?
It was a TV series based on it, wasn't there?
Yeah, it's okay. But the book, just read the book. It'll blow your mind.
Mr. Baker's right there. M25 needs at least double the number of lanes, but then it still wouldn't move. It still wouldn't move.
So the problem with adding lanes is something they've learned in Montreal. They have this north-south connector called the Décarie, right? The number 15. And the next north-south Décarie is on the other side of the city. So everybody keeps arguing about having north-south connectors added in from the 2 major highways, the 40 and the 20. But the thing is that, as someone once pointed out, it says, it doesn't matter how many connectors you have. They're all still funneling to 2 fucking bridges. That's the problem. There's not enough ways to go when you leave the system. So as a result, it's just going to bottleneck you no matter how many lanes you have, you know?
And Slan says he has to go on that after the stream.
I moved to Ville Saint Laurent, Slan. I don't have to deal with the Décarie ever again in my fucking life if I don't want to.
Anyway, we are coming towards the end of this stream.
Indeed,
so, Bear, you've already had a good heroic shill, haven't you?
Yes, we have. So buy a T-shirt at my spring store, or become a patron for $5 a month and get lots and lots and lots of extra heroic material.
I was gonna say you can either now shill your channel or shill heroic one more time. You've already just shilled your.
I shilled the T-shirts instead.
There you go. Iman, do you want to shill your channel? Or have you just disappeared?
No, sorry. I'm always here. Just making loads of background noise that I didn't want you to hear.
Okay. Shill your channel.
Intellectual quandary, video game stuff. Currently playing Bloodborne, so tune in if you like your Lovecraftian stuff, because I think this is going to be the final part or the penultimate part, depending on how the final boss decides to treat me.
I missed last Sunday because I was busy working. I had a busy work day. But hey ho, that's how it goes sometimes, because he chooses to stream on a Sunday, which is my busiest day of the week. All you people who have Sundays off, my weekend is Monday and Tuesday. Sunday is just mental for me. But thank you, everybody in chat. Thank you, Bear. Thank you, Iman. And thank you, everybody who's joined us in chat. Lots of nice, positive chat tonight. You've engaged beautifully with us. I think they have, haven't they? They've been so kind and good-natured and supportive and chatty, which is exactly what we want. We did cover the main topic, which is how we adjust games and the benefits and drawbacks of running games online and streaming, and both from a player's perspective and the GM's perspective. We talked about how you have to adapt things and how but the good that can come from it and all that sort of thing. We did that for the first about 2 hours of the stream. So if you missed all of that, it's all back there. We've just talked nonsense for the last hour, which is fine. Absolutely fine. Because we like talking nonsense. I will be back on. Go on.
Before we go, It's just a game.
Absolutely.
I was hoping
I
you'd
am
do that.
I am currently looking for maybe a couple more players for a game of Car Wars on a Friday night. It'll
It's a trap.
be
Use
Friday the 7th of June, playing 9 till midnight my time, which I accept is not an ideal time for those of you who live on the wrong side of the Atlantic. But hey ho, if you're not working on that Friday afternoon or you're free for whatever reason, you're welcome to come along. And I am looking for maybe a couple more players. I'd ideally like to run the game for 4 people, just a very basic arena duel using the Car Wars classic rules, which is the simplest version. Car Wars isn't simple. I'm going to have to really brush up on my own grasp of the rules before we start. But all I want people to remember is whenever you roll dice, almost all the time you're rolling 2d6. That's it. And Kabuki Kid turns up just as we're finishing. Kabuki, we've missed you.
Oh,
But
I think
you've
Kabuki was
unfortunately
here earlier, weren't you? I thought I saw Kabuki earlier.
I didn't see Kabuki earlier, I don't think. Late to the party, yes. Sorry. Because we're about to go. I'm about to finish. I'm just doing my good night stuff. But this Friday, I'll be streaming. I think we're going to continue book 4 of the Lone Wolf series. And you're welcome to join in because it's a choose your own adventure and chat, vote at the end of each passage where we go. I just read and roll the dice. So that's always quite nice for a bit of relaxation on a Friday night. Anyway, until then, I'm going to say good night because it's pumpkin hour. Good night.
Be heroic.
Indeed.
no, everybody.